Alrighty, I think we are all on and we have moved over and y'all should be audible.
Howdy.
Howdy, hello. Ray, do you want to put on some ambiance for the stream or do you want me to?
Oh, go ahead and put on some ambiance. I have not finished
Some
setting up the
ambiance,
ambiance.
no worries. Uh, let's do for some fantasy lo-fi. Fantasy lo-fi to study spells and chill to.
Hell yeah.
Alright, there we go. That should work. Talk again real quick.
Test test 1 2.
Testing.
Test test.
Okay, you shouldn't be echoing. Actually, I'm gonna test really quickly to make sure that y'all don't echo. Talk again real quick.
Test test 1 2.
Oh, perfect. No echo. Then yeah, we're good to go.
Sounds good.
So Ray is our host today. I am hosting the stream, but for our viewer and anyone else who ends up watching the VOD, which I know there are at least a couple people who will, we are we are return again for some more Monday Multiverse Mayhem. This is the three of us, me, your channel host, I guess, Amusing Thalia, along with my co-hosts Aqua Sylph and Key Inc., also known
Howdy.
as Aqua and Ray.
Hello.
My lovely lovelies. And as we are return again, we are learning a new system. Today is Ray's day to host, and Ray has wanted to show us the Vagabond system, which is kind of like obviously pulp fantasy role playing system. It's kind of like a truncated Pathfinder from my experience with it. But I'm interested to hear Ray describe it and explain it to us, as Ray is our host today. So take it away, Ray.
Howdy. So I'm Ray. Let's see. So this system, Vagabond, is a newly developed system that is hasn't really entered the complete virtual tabletop sphere. So we will be using a custom, like, kind of jerry-rigged version for Roll20 to create our characters. But as the title says, it is a pulp fantasy role-playing game. It is supposed to be a lighter on the way of systems when it comes to rolling dice, and is inspired by a variety of other systems. I supported it heavily on its Kickstarter and stuff like that. So I just found the whole premise very, very enjoyable, and I've been always looking for a system that not only simplifies combat, but additionally it has a spell point system. That's like one of the biggest things that I've been looking for in a variety of systems. Been looking for
Spell
a very long
points.
time.
Spell points for those of you who are not familiar. Spell points are similar. D&D actually has them as a optional rule that you can use, but it's suggested only really to use them for sorcerers, which is kind of unfortunate. Sorcerer spell points operate very similar to sorcerer sorcery points. They're in a few different systems, and it's a really, really cool system, and they can be arbitrated out to other classes to make it work in a functionally similar way, kind of like how D&D 4E handled it. And Ray is also working on a system with battle points. Good system. For those
Hell
of you
yeah.
who are not familiar with battle point systems.
Yes, like, oh my gosh, been looking very, very closely into variety of battle point and spell point systems, especially, and trying to get away from a traditional 5e system in
Spell
general.
slot and spell levels are a bit tired and are a little bit more complicated than they need to be, in my opinion.
Yes, I agree. I agree. Um, but Vagabond really pulls. This is the part that I'm excited about. It allows you to be more creative with your spell casting because of the spell point system. And it's extremely simplified, which we will get into, especially if one of you pick a spell class, slinging class. Um, in the PDF page, they even have touchstones on what the system is inspired by. So they create a complete list of stuff like that in that page, which is page 8 of the PDF. But yeah, it's inspired by like Mononoke, Berserker, like
Berserker.
yeah, Army of Darkness in terms of films. Like there's a whole entire list. When it comes to tabletop games, it's inspired by Dragonbane and let's see, RuneQuest, as well as like Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay, Zweihander, and then like video game wise, Darkest Dungeon. So like just to name like some of the few of PDFs or not PDFs of systems that the system is inspired by. So yeah, it is also additionally, this is the last little bit, it's a rollover system. What that basically means is that your character sheet is basically all you need for the most part to know if you succeed in a skill check. So like you will see when we show the PDFs of the character sheet, you'll see that everything is like kind of set up as like, oh, I have an 18 to hit. It's like, no. Like you have to roll above 18 to succeed. And when you add your character stats, that number will lower. So that's where the Dragonbane part comes from. So
Alrighty, yeah. Taking a look at it, just trying to figure out the basics,
and I'll be
trying
happy
to
dive in.
Yeah, no, I think we are just ready to go whenever. I don't know about you, Aqua. At least I am good to go kind of whenever.
Yeah, from what you had sort of showed us before, it looked like a really interesting system.
I'm just kind of slowly for people watching. I'm just kind
and
of
hopefully the classes also excite you as well. All the classes display on a single sheet. You don't need to look up multiple like pages or anything. All the classes are like completely printed on a single sheet. So it's like it's easy to even print out like just the basics for folks to look into if you wanted to just have this on the go. So it's like I find that very enjoyable.
Yeah, it looks like it has a lot of systems from several other, or a lot of like ideas from several other systems. Again, like I kind of said, that are kind of truncated for the purpose of making it a little bit more streamlined. For those of you who have
you are
played,
muted if you are speaking.
Oh. I do not know when. Oh, I know when I muted myself. Stream could still hear me. Y'all couldn't. Because I was just muted on Discord. But no, what you have is a really cool little system here. Like I was saying earlier, it's like a very truncated Pathfinder, and I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing for anyone in chat who is familiar with something like Morkbork. It actually does have a lot of similarities with, and I would not be surprised if this is inspired by Morkbork, since Morkbork and Warhammer Fantasy share a lot of the same game design.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the same like conceptual workings.
Yeah. I heard like from the creator, Taryn, also known as Indestructible on YouTube. They do streams occasionally and talk about the system when they can, and has been very, very informative, and I think he has mentioned Morkboard as like one of the systems that he has looked into a lot to inspire a lot of this stuff. So let's just like dive in a little bit. If any of you end up getting the PDF, which you can purchase from Land of the Blind website, um, you can follow along if you wish. Um, but let's see on page. Okay, on page 5, you will see the context, and you'll see that it is actually like a working PDF almost. Like you can click and it will immediately take you to the page that you need to go. So yeah, how should we start? Would you guys like to start with like learning about the classes
I
or
think
learning
I
about
think
the
walking us
ancestries?
through the classes is the way to go. I think that's going to be the most effective method for learning, especially because like there are some differences in some of the classes, and that will help us decide kind of where we're wanting to go class wise. We
Mm-hmm.
could start with ancestries, but I personally am a fan of starting with uh, classes first and have a character in that. Like, I like making the character before I like making the like full backstory for them, if that makes sense.
Yes, that makes
I will
sense.
also say, and like of course, this is a variable system that can be done for homebrew or any basic setting that has been explored before. But for me personally, I like to make characters that are fitting in the setting that they are for. Are you wanting
Mm-hmm.
us to make more agnostic characters that could just be like more generic fantasy, or do you have an idea of what you would want to make characters for? Cough, cough.
Uh,
Something that maybe we would return back to with these characters after making them.
um, let's see. I think I will stick with a generic fantasy. However, I am always flexible when it comes to flavoring a world. So we could even dive
Why don't you give
into
us a
something.
hook?
Okay.
Yeah, it can be
Um.
a generic fantasy hook, but why don't you give us a hook? I
Okay.
think, and just on I think that this game actually has some systems for coming up with like what to do or yeah, quests, structure, overview, preparation, etc.
Yes.
Um,
It's very, very helpful.
and that's yeah. Oh,
For.
I was right with the name too. Hooks.
Yep. It has hooks in the structure section. If you click on it, then it will immediately take you there.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it does have that. Let's see. We can actually roll 2d6 to decide on our hook.
All right, Aqua, you roll one, and I'll roll
Oh,
one.
okay.
Yeah.
Let's see.
I got a 5 on mine.
1d6 each, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay. A 2.
Let's see. We got a 5 and a 2. All right. And then I'm gonna need. I'm just double checking on my hooks. All right. I want you both to roll 1d6 again. And I'm
Alrighty.
writing this down.
No, this is part of the game. We were kind of doing the same thing for
We
Irons.
flipped.
There we go. We were kind of doing
Yay!
the same thing for Ironsworn and Quiet Year as well. And that, like, hey, we're figuring this out as we go along.
Hell yeah. So. Uh, and then we got a 1. Ooh, interesting. And a 5. Cool, cool.
I have a little notebook just for this game.
Okay. This is exciting. Okay. So, the hook will be that you are recently licensed adventurers. You have been given instructions on joining the Adventurers Guild either by choice or by force, depending on if you needed to complete a contract or service, basically civil service for doing something very terrible, and so you're forced into the Adventure Guild for that
Oh
reason.
God, that's such a funny way to do that. I like that.
So it's your choice if you wanted to be willing of like, oh, spur of the moment, like I want to explore the world, or if you're like, I have to complete a contract because I fucked up somewhere else and I didn't get away with it. So you will be joining just undocking immediately from your from the boat onto a shoreside type of town that has a fence, not fence, but like large wooden, like custom, like they built it themselves out of like the local trees around the coastal area, and like joining into the Adventurers Guild that way. And the first task that you're given as level ones, you will be starting at level 1. The system, I feel, has even a really great introduction to a level 1 and makes you very excited for future levels, as it only goes up to level 10 when it comes to the classes abilities. Let's see. So you'll be given instructions to discover or find out a suspicious of some suspicious activity that's started to pop up within the surrounding town. A strange mist is starting to form around the town and is bringing a lot of concern. It's odd because even though it can be misty in this coastal land, this mist feels off. Like there's just a weird chill in the air. Not sure what exactly that
Is
is.
it purple by any chance?
No, it is not purple,
Okay, okay.
but it is an eerie green, greenish blue. And
Oh,
the
pretty colors.
citizens are starting to get very concerned and less likely to go out of sight of the walls.
Alrighty. Um, alrighty. Well, that is a perfect little hook made in the system for us to make characters out of.
Yeah. So now we can move to uh, the classes, I believe, if you guys were interested, like what classes you
Mm-hmm.
guys may be interested in. And I'll be making a character alongside you, as this system is. This is another really neat feature of the system. It has the ability to be self-run in a
Oh,
lot of
like
cases.
Ironsworn.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah, so Ironsworn, the game that anyone who might remember what we were kind of touching on last week and will be returning to, also has a similar thing where it can be run like game masterless. And I always really like
Mm.
that because, you know, as someone who is the forever DM and has always been the forever DM, it is really nice to be able to play with your players sometimes, and it's
Yeah.
really nice to kind of break out of that monotony of always running games. And so I do appreciate when games even like at least have the option in there for you to make characters or you to play alongside players, that kind of thing, or even just like all as a group. Is this similar to Ironsworn in the sense that you can also play solo, or is it just more meant to group run a game?
I believe the original intent was to allow solo play, and I believe it is in here. Yes, it is on. Let's see. If you look at the context, you will see
Mm-hmm.
solo co-op in underneath is it applications or ad-
Uh,
it's underneath classes
oh, appendices.
appendices. So yeah, they have
All
solo
right.
and co-op available. So fun, fun, fun. And I have read some of the stuff about the solo and co-op because in this system they simplify um, class types, such as frontline, midline, backline, and that's how the monster manual or the bestiary in this system is written as well, where it's just like this is how this kind of tactics of this creature will act up until a point.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
So super, super fun.
Well, heck yeah.
Uh, Hell yeah. So, we're gonna just go on to classes now.
Heck yeah, heck yeah.
All right. So, this won't show you how to roll up your characters just yet. That's actually closer to the top of like the basics, but we're gonna start with just reading through the actual classes of
Mm-hmm.
like what this system has to offer. Each class comes with amazing artwork from various artists and real artists, by the way. They were and this was also why the Kickstarter took so long, is that they wanted to make sure that they could pay the artists that they commissioned.
Great art. Are we making
Yeah.
level 0 characters?
We will not be making level 0 characters, but I love that that's an option. I've
You want to
never
explain what
played
that
level
is?
0, so I don't know what that is.
Okay, from what I can see here, you can choose to start at level 0 when you're a lowly vagabond who hasn't quite experienced the call to adventure. In doing so, follow these guidelines. Choose your ancestry, stats, and gear. For max HP, treat level 0 as level 1. Don't take a class until level 1.
Ooh. That
Wait,
would be
what? Repeat that? Sorry, my brain.
No
It's all
worries.
good, it's all good.
So you choose your ancestry, stats, and gear. For
Okay.
max HP, you treat level 0 as level 1. You
Okay.
don't take a class until level 1.
Oh, okay, okay. So it's like you're literally like starting out
Dude.
before you do the journey kind of thing.
Yeah,
like-
before
Yeah.
before you were kind of has anyone here seen the new Willow series?
No, I have
Oh,
not.
I think I did.
Okay, so
that one that's
yeah.
the series that was.
Yeah,
I did see that.
I love Willow. Willow was it was a movie that I had access to growing up, one of the few movies I had access to growing up. So I watched it a lot. And I have a soft spot for it, especially in the sense that they were going to make a Lord of the Rings and they couldn't get the licensing for it from Tolkien's
Aw.
family, and so they were like,
Yeah.
okay, we're going to make our own Lord of the Rings. And so everything that they do in it is them having to be completely like unique and having to really stray away from Lord of the Rings stuff, which is why it ends up being kind of the way it is. And I'm a big I'm a big fan of it. And in the Willow series, you have a whole bunch of characters who are like starting out and who are like starting this journey, and like half of them are fucking useless right out the gate. Like half of them cannot do shit. They don't know what
Yeah,
they're
no.
supposed to do. There's maybe like 2 of them who are competent. There's like the old wizard character who actually can cast spells, but every time he casts a spell, he has to take like a 3-hour nap. And then there's like there's like a trained guard there. And like other than that, they all figure out their classes as a part of the journey. And I always thought that's really cool. Like that is part of the hero's journey. Like you don't know Luke's a Jedi at the beginning of A New Hope unless you've seen it before. Yeah. But yeah, anyways, so we're not starting at level 0, so we're walking through classes now.
Yes, because I want to make sure that you guys maybe like will be excited for the classes specifically, and then like when we play our first like session and stuff like that, we can choose to play level 0s and be like a bunch of dudes.
Mm-hmm.
100%.
100%.
So yeah, let's start with the alchemist.
I like that they have complexity stars. It's something that Pathfinder kind of has. It doesn't have stars, but like it has a similar thing, and it's something in video games that's always helpful for kind of figuring out what kind of thing you like. And there's nothing wrong with choosing less or more simple things. Looks like there are 10 levels in this game.
This is a. Oh, I'm roboting out probably.
Yeah, we're cutting out a little
There we
bit,
go.
but you're okay.
Okay, I'm back. Okay, so the classes only go up to level 10, but it doesn't mean that you stop leveling up. In this system, you get your level 10 features at level 10, but
Mm-hmm.
because many of the classes are accumulative, what ends up happening is that you can continue leveling up past level 10 and gain extra perks or extra stats in those features.
Got it. Okay.
Because perks level are every odd level with each class, so you can just keep bulking up your characters and just continue past level 10. Wow.
I
Oh.
just did a quick region swap. It should make it so it's a little bit more stable.
Okay, cool.
It's like the brain did a little like backflip. It's just like what? Ah!
But yeah, no, you shouldn't cut out nearly as much anymore, Ray.
Okay, cool. Because it could also be my internet on my side as well.
It could be, but I've noticed that this helps regardless.
Oh, cool.
Discord reset. I don't know anyone who uses Discord. Discord reset a lot of the servers to automatic rather than on the specific server they were set on. So if you're experiencing connection issues, check what server that channel is on. Small tip.
Gotcha. I might do that. And I might tell my folks to do that too.
I mean, we could also mess with that another time.
Yeah.
No,
But I just
100%.
did a quick swap for this channel so that we're fine. We're on US West now, so it should be pretty stable.
West
for us.
Side.
West Side.
Okay, so yeah, Alchemist, yay! I love that each of them have a blurb. Typically, it's like either like from a movie or pop culture kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the skills and abilities are just really punny. I'm gonna take a break from talking about them, or I'm not gonna read them out. If someone else could read them out, so I can, because I'm gonna be doing a lot of talking about the whole system.
Yeah.
What page are we on?
We are on page
33
of the PDF.
Oh, okay, yeah. I'm not.
It's all good.
It's all good. I can start. And so one thing I will say, I love the iconic alchemist thing, like you were kind of talking about, as far as like there's a little blurb, etc. I do love that the Justin Kuritziks, or who's the potion setter guy on YouTube, they have a fucking quote in here from him, and that is just, "My respect to knights when my potions can do anything you can." Potion seller, I'm going into battle, and I need your strongest potions. You can't handle my potions, traveler. They're too strong for you. But the iconic alchemist is really nice because it is really helpful having a touchstone sometimes. Monster of the Week, which is another game we're going to be doing on here, also has a similar thing where it has sort of like examples, touchstone characters, ideas, which is very, very useful when it comes to crafting a character if you're not kind of used to it. Alchemist, classic concept. Playing an alchemist, low defense, high damage, utility blaster. Action, use craft and attack. Move, backline. Starting pack, alchemist or assassin. Key stat is reason. 4-star complexity. And like I was saying, I like complexity. Complexity is nice. It's good in video games. And there's nothing wrong with playing more or less complex characters. And then its basic features are Alchemy, Catalyze, Eureka, Potency, Mix, Big Bang, and Prima Materia.
Super, super flashy.
Out of curiosity, what is the value thing next to the formula?
So, in
I assume it means 5 gold,
mechanics,
50 silver, that kind of thing. But how does that function?
Yeah.
Okay, so Vagabond works off of a silver, the silver dollar currency kind of thing, as opposed to gold value. So gold is actually more value in this system. It's not like your standard. Silver is the standard.
Oh, okay.
I tend to run that in my fantasy settings, like usually. Like the average citizen will use silver. Gold is just primarily like an adventurer currency.
But in the first level abilities that you get, you have Formulate, which allows you to create like your potions based off of the silver value. So like you have like a whole list of stuff that you can look through, and basically based off of your alchemy level times 50 silver, you can create that type of potion. And that's how they do it. Is like you get the list of like the alchemist is probably one, like as it says, like it's a high complexity type class. So you're going to have multiple sheets just to like have reference to for this one. But yeah, that's what the value means, is basically
So
putting it right in
that
front
that
of
is
you.
like a little rubric just for alchemists to know what the maximum value of something that they could make at that level is. Yeah,
Yes, correct.
cool.
So you'll always know what that is, like just based off of this character sheet or this class sheet here.
Alrighty. Well,
Very
that
helpful.
seems like an alchemist. We don't really need to go into the late level abilities because we will get there when we get. We'll get there when we get there.
Yeah.
Amazing barbarian art. Really love
Oh,
the
nice.
Zod ass sword.
Yeah. So fucking
Move
ballin',
to
just love it.
barbarian. Aqua, why don't you take this one?
Okay. So a little blurb at the top. Hatred outlives the hateful. Brian Tinsman, Rancor Flavor Text, Magic the Gathering. Primal warriors that fight
Rancor.
with the powers of unbridled anger. The legends speak of their kills almost as their own unique deeds, using the barbarian's name as a past tense verb. Iconic barbarians: Brock Samson, Venture Brothers, Conan from Conan the Barbarian series, Guts from Berserk, Logan Nine Fingers, First Law Trilogy. Playing a barbarian.
Oh, okay.
Barbarian.
I'm gonna really quickly interject.
Oh, yeah.
First Law Trilogy is one of my favorite fantasy series of all time. I love that. I've never really seen it referenced anywhere. It's an extremely grimdark fantasy setting. And it's extremely well done. I am someone who really, really values really good representation in a lot of ways. And especially mental health representation, especially in like fantasy and like really dark settings. Mental health representation needs to be a thing. And I love that Guts and Logan are right next to each other on the list, because like the trauma that those two characters experience is unreal. And Logan Nine Fingers is probably one of the best examples of a dissociative disorder I have ever seen in media. It's handled perfectly, and it's unbelievable how well that First Law Trilogy is written. I highly recommend it if you haven't read it. And if I were to choose an iconic barbarian that I think of when I think of fantasy, it would be Logan. And that puts so much more trust for me into this series that this person read that book series, because it is so good.
Hell yeah.
That's awesome.
Oh.
Let's see. Okay. Playing the barbarian. The barbarian is a medium-high defense bruiser. Stick to an enemy's face and hit them very hard. They have melee actions. They move frontline, starting pack, gladiator, or warrior. Key stat is might. Complexity, to be expected, is going to be a little on the less complex side. Training is obviously melee weapons, and their skills: Brawl and 3 from either Detect, Influence, Leadership, Mysticism, or Survival. Their class features are Rage, Wrath, Aggressor, Perk, Fearmonger, Perk, Mindless Rancor, another perk, Bloodthirsty, Perk, and Rip and Tear.
Yeah.
I think I have my one complaint about
very perky.
this. They are very perky. I think I have my one complaint about this so far, and it is that Guts is given as an example of a barbarian. But Barbarian's first level ability is Walt Berserk and wearing light armor or no armor. And I will say that is sometimes, in my opinion, a flavor miss. Because the idea that Barbarians never wore armor is really a misunderstanding of historical Berserkers. And Guts is on here, and Guts wears a set of full plate.
Right.
So my one flavor miss so far. Otherwise, it's been S tier.
Hell yeah. Understandable. And yes, you get a perk every odd level.
I
Usually
think
you
that
get your
goes for any
freebie.
class, though, right?
Yes, all the classes get their perks at every odd level, and they get their freebie perk at level 1, so that gives you like the flavor text of your character so far. So even when you're doing homebrew stuff, if you just follow this formula, you can make your own custom class in this system. It's just like up to level 10, your capstone should feel very, very good at level 10, and then your first level should always come with a perk that is given to you.
Heck yeah.
So yeah.
Very cool.
Moving on to Bard.
The bard.
Classic.
Bard. Yes, yes.
Good bard.
All right, I will take this. Unless you want to take it. You're going to be doing a lot of talking, so I'm fine to have Aqua and I pass off between the classes. But if you want to go ahead, Ray, it's up to you.
Go
All right,
on.
cool.
Go ahead.
Bards were terrible at keeping secrets. They insisted on putting them to music. Tanya Huff, sing the four quarters. Heralds of the awe-inspiring beauty of creation, while the painter and sculptor decorate space, a bard decorates time. Edward Chris von Muir, Final Fantasy IV, classic. Jaskier, The Witcher series. Kavoth, The King Killer Chronicles, nice, classic. Sylvando from Dragon Quest XI, what a pull. The Bard is a low mid defense high support class with focus on optimizing your group's d20 rolls. It's recommended that you avoid melee on most Bard builds. Midline backline, action virtuoso, starting pack musician, key stat presence, and complexity is 2 stars, actually, which I actually find kind of surprising. I'm glad that it's 2 stars, but I am mildly surprised by that. Is Bard not a caster in this? No, it does not seem as though it is.
Nope, Bard is not a caster. That's because Terran themselves have found it too much to lean on in many of the systems that they've viewed, of like making music magic, and they are themselves a music player. They are a music instructor right now as well. So it's just like, they are like, I feel like Bard should be more of like the battle, like on the field, like drummer boy or tutor boy.
Yeah, the individual
like they don't even
that
use any weapons.
that moralizes allies, etc. Yeah. Virtuoso, well-versed, Song of Rest, classic. Starstruck, bravado, awe-inspiring, and encore. I would honestly, looking at it, I would probably put this at 3 complexity, only in the sense that a lot of its features refer to a previous feature.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it seems to feed off of itself a lot, and
And that can be a little complex, because your 10th level features, you're like, alright, my Starstruck feature now affects all near enemies. Okay, what does Starstruck do? When I perform Virtuoso, okay, what does Virtuoso do? But it doesn't seem too complex. It has a little bit more mechanical depth to it, I think.
Yeah.
Than people would maybe be used to with a Bard, because Bard tends to just be, I inspire and I cast in basically any system you're in.
Right. Well, this one, it feels more engaging to inspire. And you definitely inspire. Especially like when you choose what you inspire. Like when it comes to healing, or saves, or attacks.
A dancer, though. This is where we move on.
Yeah, that's the next one.
Nice. Let's see. I'll call her. So dancer. She moves abstract like a shadow dancing on the edge, like a storm cloud passing overhead, hypnotizing me. Dillinger escape plan. One of us is the killer. Practitioners of the alluring art of dance, they have a flair for enlivening their audience, drawing attention, and giving awe-inspiring shows. Iconic dancers are Absalar from the Malazan Book of the Fallen, Azura from the Fire Emblem Fates, Sandaline Torin, The Circle Opens. I have not heard that third one. but
Do you think
I've
they had to
heard.
try really hard not to put a Final Fantasy 14 dancer
I
in
was
there?
just about to say that. Yeah, because that's what I think of, first. But that's, it is what it is, I guess. Playing Dancer. The Dancer is a low defense support with a focus on action efficiency. Grant actions through step up, as your main offenses will occur when you crit on reflex saves. Interesting. So it's almost like as a dancer, and having done some dancing, also like having a little bit of dance history. It's like very improvisational kind of dancing. You're reacting to things. So it's kind
Mhm.
of an interesting take on it. Their action is step up, their move is midline, their starting pack is courtesan or musician, their key stat is dexterity. They also have, or they're shown as a lower complexity, 2 out of 5 stars. No weapons, but their skills are finesse and performance, and 2 from either brawl, influence, or sneak. Their features are that they're fleet of foot, they have step up, they're evasive, they have perks, and then in ascending order is Don't Stop Me Now. Oh, that's awesome. Don't Stop Me Now. Choreographer, Flash of Beauty, and Double Time.
Dancer seems like a
Interesting.
very cool support. I am also
Yeah.
someone with a, not like huge, but like a reasonable amount of a dance background. And this is one of those that I find very interesting how people implement into their games. Most
Mhm.
often, I find it implemented very similarly to this, which, has its positives and negatives. I personally find, and partially because, like, I've helped Ray work on it, but Ray's version of Dancer to be the most satisfying for me as, like, a dancer personally. Uh,
Hell yeah.
because dancers in pretty much any military or battle or adventure or historical context were very capable combatants or tended to be very capable combatants. Um, so I do always find it interesting when they're like pretty much laid in as the support class. Um, but I do not necessarily. I will say, while I say that, I actually really like the mechanics of this class.
Yeah, like step up throws me off guard, like throws me off a little bit sometimes, but then like after a while I'm like, okay, I get it. Like you are like legitimately just helping your like fellow like folks like get really really like actions, like a lot of actions. Like basically you give your players, not your players, your companions extra actions during their action. Which is like really really wild. Um
I think it's weird.
because
The one, oh no, I just uh the first ability you gain tread lightly perk, and the roll for you to crit on reflex saves is reduced by an amount equal to, and this is the part that really wilds me. Your dancer level divided by 4 rounded up. Huh? So that means like at 8th
So
level it's 2?
let's see.
I've never seen something mechanically divide by 4 round
yeah,
up. Because like if you divide 1 by 4, it's 0.25.
yeah.
Do you round
Which just
that
makes it,
up?
yes,
I would think so.
which just
Yeah.
makes it a 1.
Which just makes it a 1. So it's a 1 until you hit 5, and then it's a 2 until you hit
Mm-hmm.
8 or 9, and then
Well,
9
wait.
is
It
Is
says round up. So if it was 2.5, wouldn't that make it 3?
yes.
Okay.
So if it's anything above the 0.5 or 8.5, then it's
yeah,
a
exactly. So you wouldn't get 3
higher.
until you get
Yeah.
to 9th level. Because it's divided by 4. So 8 divided by 4 is 2.
Yes.
So anything prior than
Oh, I
8,
saw it.
yeah.
Yeah,
So like
I think it was like stated a certain way, and I thought it was something else. Never mind. Never mind. You're good.
I just think that's I just think it's you don't get the +3 until like level 9 and past
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
that.
Yeah.
I just think I've never seen a divide by 4 round up mechanically before.
it's
Yeah.
very interesting and kind of hard to wrap your brain around, but also remember this is a infinite level up system.
Mm-hmm.
So you can go beyond level 10 and keep getting more as long as it's your level divided by 4.
Hmm.
So you can be super powerful using this ability at higher levels, like even
Oh,
beyond level
to
10.
scale. Yeah.
Yeah, it's to help balance with like infinite leveling almost.
Yeah, is there cross-classing in this game?
Not as far as I know right now.
Got it.
There was not intention to do cross classes, but the perk system helps out with that if you wanted to have flavor from another class.
Yeah, I mean that's a big thing for me is I really love cross-classing in basically any system I've been in. I love taking multiple levels. I like being Gish, that kind of thing, and it's very satisfying for me to kind of like mix abilities and perks and kind of find cool combinations. And I always think that's something that should be implemented if possible in a system.
Yeah,
Keyword being if possible.
it's not implemented right now, but yeah.
All right.
Druid.
Answer. Druid. That is a cool druid image. I'll say that. Bare minimum, that is a very cool druid image.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
All right, druid. Why do birds suddenly appear
I love
every time you are near? DMCA
that. I
strike.
still love that from Simpsons.
Keepers of the Karen Carpenter, close to you. Keepers of the wilderness. Druids are mystics of nature that are adopted into beast kind. Oh, all right, so we're still doing beast druids.
Yeah, this one does more of what I do with wildlings as opposed to.
Yeah, this is heavy, like warg animal druid. Got it. Iconic druids. Beast Boy from DC Comics. Bjorn from... It's interesting this is Lord of the Rings series when Bjorn is just from The Hobbit. Frank Zhang from Percy Jackson, and Poison Ivy from DC Comics. Well, there's still the one non-animal turner there. Playing Druid. Druid is a mid-defense, mixed support control class with a focus on casting spells and shape-changing to powerful beasts. Action. Cast or beast attacks. Move midline. Starting pack Hermit. With a key stat of awareness, complexity 3, training, no weapons again. God, we've had one weapon class so far, really making weapons rare. Skills, mysticism, and 3 from either brawl, craft, detect, medicine, or survival, with their abilities being primal mystic, feral shift, tempest within, innervate, ancient growth, savagery, and hate that term, and force of nature. Seems like a pretty classic druid from what I can tell. Yeah, focus on changing a polymorph that targets only you. You reduce. I see where you get the resistance from your system. Tempest within you reduce cold fire shock, take by druid level. I think it can make sense, especially in this system where they're truncating things, but I don't think that's a necessary thing. They went for a very specific druid flavor, not a bad thing. This is you wanting to play a like Avatar of the Wilds kind of character.
Yeah, basically.
Like nature avatar sort of vibe. Which is fine. It's not really what I think of when I think of a druid, but it's what a lot of people think of when they think of druids.
Yeah, exactly. They went with like pulp fantasy.
Yeah, very
like,
pulp fantasy. Yeah,
where most people think of it, not trying to make a unique spin or anything like that.
See, and I'm not used to druids like giving mana to other beings.
I was about to point out.
I'm wondering
level 4.
where that came from. Yeah, because I was looking at that. It's like, oh, okay, so this one does that. Very interesting.
That comes from, I think, like classic druidic aspects, but also like really like older fantasy stuff. For example, I think that comes from the idea that druids were originally used to help find like springs and that kind of
Yeah,
thing,
yeah.
and like well springs, and well springs were very often viewed as magic fonts, and I think that's kind of where
Mm.
that comes from.
Oh yeah, like the meta of it, like I get, and is something that it's like, okay, I know that totally would fit. It was just more of like there's so many, or at least like of the systems I've gotten to play, that hasn't really been an aspect that I've gotten to play with personally, was the only real thing about that. So I thought that was
Yeah,
interesting.
like it really like perked my interest, and I also kind of applied this to my own system as well because it makes sense, like exactly what you said, where it's just like, yeah, they would know how to like pull the magic from nature because they
Mm-hmm.
have like learned it or been with it for so long and actually care about it enough and know how to do it in a way that doesn't destroy the environment.
Absolutely. Druids for me always registered more as like tree and water casters than like animal casters. Like they had a connection with animals because of the familiarity with the wilderness, but like druids in
Mm-hmm.
my understanding, it was more of a focus on like the ability to commune with nature, the ability to travel through nature without issue, the ability to call upon water when needed. Like druids were helpful for in times of like water scarcity or in winter times or in or often I think the thing I also think of with druids is like medicine, like the
Mm-hmm.
ability to craft poultices and almost like
I
nature
see them.
alchemy.
I see them a lot as like apothecaries almost.
Yeah, yep.
And I'm over
And so
here, we're like
oh yeah,
3.0, 3.5 druid from D&D. Just like, man, I
yep,
miss him. Anyway, go ahead,
yep.
Yeah.
continue.
3.0 Druid.
Ah.
I think the thing I like about 3.0 Druid and 3.5 Druid is that the prestige classes that you could go into really allowed you variety with what your Druid ended up being.
Yes. Yes.
Yes, because like I do see your point with like the common druid definitely being like more green thumb oriented or like water oriented, but also I see some druids that are like, I have mastered how the cycles of nature happens with islands being volcanic and stuff like that. Where it's just like moving just regionally to a different area. Is like volcanoes are the nature starters in islands, basically.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, I think that makes sense. Druids also I mean, I think Druid is one of those things that it's an extremely Irish associated word.
Oh yeah,
Um
100%.
and it is one of those things where uh it has come to like be associated with one specific concept of what something is,
Yeah.
but outside of that there are a lot of things in other cultures that generally go by the term shaman is the English term. Shaman isn't like an insulting term. I just think it's a little bit of a bland catch-all for
Yeah, like
what
I
is
thought
essentially
about
like nature priests.
yeah, I thought about using shaman for the naming convention of my system, but druid gives you more of that mental image of what it is, if that
Shaman
makes
isn't
sense.
like a problematic term, but I do find that shaman is often used to describe or depict somewhat problematic like visuals of things, and I don't think
Right.
that like is necessary all the time. Like for example, I think a really good example of like a druid in world history that is not called a traditional druid is a Shinto priest.
Yeah.
Because like Shintoism in Japanese mythology is very akin to druidic practices in Irish history. They have a lot of similar, like I think one of my favorite things that's similar between them is the way that alcohol is like ritually prepared, both in Irish history and in Japanese culture. Um, I just think it's like one of those interesting things that kind of like showed up in different cultures. But like, yeah, that and I like that this gives the like option for that.
Hell yeah.
I think we can move on. Aqua, you're on the fighter.
All right, so we got the man takes up the sword in order to shield the small wound in his heart sustained in a far-off time beyond remembrance. Kentaro Miura, Berserk. Students of the art of violence. A fighter is defined by their skill with weapons and large variety of martial techniques. Here's the weapons. All right, so iconic fighters. Beowulf, English mythology. Gilgamesh, Mesopotamian legend. Sir Lancelot, Arthurian legend. When playing the fighter is a medium defense striker. In combat, get within effective distance from offense and focus on the attack action. Your attack is your action. Your move is flexible. Your starting pack is the gladiator, knight, warrior, or watchman. Your key stat's going to be might or awareness. I almost saw this as awesomeness.
Might or awesomeness.
Awesomeness. Complexity is a 1-star, so that's even the lowest complexity out of the other ones. Training, they actually do have weapons, melee and ranged. Skills are brawl or finesse, and 3 from either brawl, detect, finesse, leadership, or sneak. Their class features have fighting style, valor, momentum, and then increased perks sort of woven in between valor with a -2 to crit, muster for battle, not mustard, but muster, valor, -3 to crit, and harrying. Interesting. Situational awareness. So yeah, so a lot of just like situational battle flexibility.
I do wish that in the descriptions for iconic fighters, this is just one of those where I'm like, they used Kentaro Miura's description of guts in fighter. And then the iconic fighter they give is Beowulf, who is famously someone who fought naked against a monster. Against Grendel in Beowulf's legend, and I'm just like, homie, just swap Beowulf and Guts here. Just swap them. It makes way more sense with what you got cooking. I also wish that there were a couple of like I wouldn't call Gilgamesh Western, in the sense that Gilgamesh is a like Central Asia, like Middle Eastern legend, but it is heavily claimed by a lot of Western cultures in the way that like Greek culture is just like claimed by England and white people. Like it's just one of those things that's just been completely wrapped up in it. And while Gilgamesh is separate in its own thing, I do wish there wasn't such a like Western influenced myth in the iconic fighters, because like just like one more in there, like Salah ad-Din or Musashi or like any of the like various famous samurai or warriors from the War of the Three Kingdoms or something else, just a little bit more out there that would have given a bit of a, because from what I see is sword fighter, sword fighter, sword fighter.
But as you said, like Gilgamesh or Beowulf, excuse me, like was known for fighting barehanded.
Yep, completely naked.
Yeah.
Grippers out and everything.
Grippers out and everything. Oh man.
But
That's probably what they were trying to influence when it came to that particular, is like you can be a hand-to-hand person or a weapons person. That's
I can kind of see that. Like there's some variability there. This is just me personally. I wish Salah ad-Din was there, because like motherfucker was known as the most like skilled warrior of his time period, single-handedly fighting like battalions of Richard the Lionheart's men, and they were like friendly with each other. This is just like a fun historical fact. Like Richard the Lionheart and Salah ad-Din like had dinner with each other multiple times. They were like really friendly with each other. It was really kind of wild.
That's adorable.
Moving on to Gunslinger.
Ooh. Now this is a fun quote.
I
A
like.
stim, if you will,
Yep.
for some.
Yep. I like when gunslingers included. I don't think guns need to be in everything, but as someone who was raised around them, unfortunately, big gun go boom, make brain burr.
Burr.
Uh, it is just the way it is. But this is my boomstick for Ash, Army of Darkness. Attitude and tenacity are as core to the gunslinger's ammo. I like the term grit for it. They stare down the challenges through iron sights fortified by their inner grit. Arthur Morgan, Red Dead Redemption 2, Django Untamed, Roland Death Chain from Dark Tower. You can probably think of a trillion other famous gunslingers from media. McCree from Overwatch.
Yeah.
The gunslinger is a low defense, high crit striker. In combat, stay as far back as possible and keep the enemy under constant fire. I really like how the pistols operate in last spell. Action, attack, move, backline. Starting pack, bounty hunter or tinker. Key stat is awareness, complexity 3, as it should be. Using a gun is not easy. Training, weapons, ranged, skills, detect, and 3 from brawl, finesse, influence, sneak, or survival. I could very easily build my character Dust in this system, and that makes me happy.
Yay!
Because I love Dust, and Dust is like a brawler gunslinger, and that's something I really think needs to be in there. I know it says low defense. I would probably spec into like a tankier gunslinger than normal.
Which is possible.
Which
in the
is
perk
possible,
system.
yeah, with how the perk system works out. But the fact that they give brawl to a gunslinger, because there is no gunslinger who doesn't know how to fist fight just because of how gunslinging works. People get on you and you have to defend yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
No, really cool. I really like it. Its abilities are Quick Draw, Deadeye, Skeet Shooter, Grit, Devastator, Bad Medicine. And High Noon. Bad medicine is such a good term. It's an old timey cowboy term for eating lead, for getting shot. So it's just really funny. It's bad medicine. Once per turn, if you crit on a ranged attack, you may take 1 additional attack. It's High Noon. I
Yep, that's
love
the
it.
capstone.
Perfect. No fucking notes.
Yeah, so this one is clearly just built off of the crit system. And I
Mm-hmm.
believe this is the only class that can crit off of your D20s.
Yeah.
Because
How does critting
otherwise
normally
it's a
work?
roll system, you know,
How does
a
critting
roll high.
normally? Yeah. How does critting normally work?
Excuse me, I misspoke. This is the only class that gets advantage. Excuse me. Like as the
Ooh.
traditional roll 2d20s. There's no advantage in this system, and this is another part that I can just introduce here. Instead, they have the favor and hinder system, where you basically add
Oh.
a d6 die to your roll, and that is your basically this game's version of advantage. But the traditional advantage that you see in 5e is actually built into the gunslinger.
Yeah.
So you get to roll 2
Interesting.
d20s to maximize getting a crit in one of the abilities.
So after you, what is that? Dead Eye. When you pass a range check, after you pass a range check, you crit on subsequent ranged attacks on a d20 roll 1 lower, but no lower than 17. This resets to 0 at the end of your turn if you didn't pass a range check since your last turn.
So basically, your crit chance lowers, like by 1 until you maximize it out, and then
Or
hits
until
reset.
you miss.
Yeah. But it's the bad medicine part that it gives
Mm-hmm.
you the 2. Let's see. Wait, no, is it the bad medicine? Hold on. Where are you? Or was this in actually the hunter
I
that
think
got
you're
this?
talking
Because I
about the
know.
hunter, because what I can tell now is this gunslinger, from what I can see, functions similarly to fighter.
Gotcha.
Uh,
Okay, yeah, it could be the
yeah,
hunter
yeah,
that I'm mistaking it with, because I know at least one of the ranged martial classes gets advantage mechanics built into their system. So it
yeah.
could be the hunter that I'm mistaking it with.
Because fighter has the valor mechanic, which is like a -2 to crit, -3 to crit, -1 to crit, and that functions somewhat similar to gunslinger's Deadeye ability with the like crit stacking. Um, and that's like the closest I can uh
Related to.
yeah, that's the closest I can kind of relate it to. They're different, but it does seem like you could build like a bow fighter and it would function pretty similar to a gunslinger.
Yeah.
And we're on
From like
hunter.
extra attacks. Yeah, onto hunter.
Okay. And then I was gonna say real quick the whole like grit word. Like, I know it could be used for various things, but I know I always had an association with um like sh- the Wild West and things like that because of like that old John Wayne film, True Grit.
Yeah, True
Mm-hmm.
Grit. Yeah.
So that was always like a personal association with me. But
Same.
um
And True Grit was just an old-timey cowboy term to describe someone who could handle any horse.
exactly. So
Ah, good to
I
know.
I know a lot of that kind of shit. I was raised in fucking buttfuck Montana.
let's see. Okay, but yeah, for Hunter, oh, I will look for you. I will find you, and I will kill you. Liam
Oh
Neeson,
my god, I can do
take
that
it.
whole quote. No. It's dragging itself out of me.
Right.
I will not keep going, Aqua. I will keep
Okay.
myself from doing the Taken quote.
Keepers of the Old Way, hunters are survival experts that specialize in exploiting their enemies' weaknesses. Iconic hunters are Aloy from the Horizon series. I don't know that one. Aragorn, Lord of the Rings. Who doesn't know that one? Samus Aran from Metroid, and
Yeah,
then Sam from
Aloy,
Princess
Horizon Zero
Mononoke.
Dawn.
Oh, okay. I have not played or seen into that at all.
I like
Is
that
that
San
just
is
like a
included. Yeah.
yeah, like these
I'll
are all
I'll send a
really good
link into
hunters.
the Discord so you can see. She's pretty
Okay.
iconic.
Okay. And when playing as the hunter is a low defense, high crit striker. They can be built for melee or ranged positions. They have attack, their midline or backline for movement. Their starting pack is scout or warrior. Their key stat is awareness. And like most of the others so far, their complexity is 2 out of 5 stars. Their training, they are weapon sort of classes, so melee and ranged. Their skills are survival and for others. It doesn't say, I
Oh,
think it's
no
just
specifications.
whatever. Yeah, it looks like it's just whatever for others because it doesn't have them listed, but that's interesting. So you could be kind of flexible or just have
Yeah.
whatever custom that you want to do. Class features for the hunter is the hunter's mark and survivalist, rover, um, overwatch, quarry, lethal precision, and apex predator mixed in with perks between them. Interesting. Okay. So
So I
being
sent a
able to
couple
move over
pictures of
terrain.
Aloy for a good example.
Okay. Oh, I see. Very cool. Yeah, no, she's got a really cool look.
Hell yeah.
Oh,
So
all
thoughts
right.
on the hunter.
Yeah, let's see.
Basically, this is their ranger class.
Hmm.
I feel like they have gotten a good flavor for it while keeping it balanced with the rest of the classes.
I don't know who you are. I don't know what you want. If it's money you're after, I can assure you I have none. What I do have is a very particular set of skills. Skills I have used and developed over a very long career. If you let my daughter go now, that'll be the end of it. But if you don't, I will look for you. I will find you. And I will kill you. Good luck.
Oh, Liam Neeson.
Oh god, that movie's so bad, but that quote
See,
is
and
so good.
I've never seen it, but yeah, I've seen like that scene is
It's
played so much.
it's the
It's just
best scene
part
in the
of
movie. It's the
yeah,
entire movie
it
right
really
there.
is.
Like the entire rest of the movie is him just doing that. Like
Yeah.
that's just the movie.
Yup.
Oh no.
I actually
Oh
Oh
my
really
lord.
like Hunter. I'm one of
yeah.
those people who I hate how Ranger's implemented. I kind of hate Ranger as a whole, but that's only because I've never gotten to play a Ranger that feels like an actual like woodsman. I've never seen a Ranger class that could actually be Aragorn from Lord of the Rings without being like the closest is not Ranger, it's actually Scout from D&D 3.5. And I miss the Scout class so much. And this has a lot of similarities to the Scout class, which I appreciate.
Cool, cool.
I see you now roll 3d20s with your Hunter's Mark and Overwatch features and use the highest result of the three. God damn!
Yeah.
There it is.
They
There's
are
the advantage.
effective.
God damn! Hunter's Mark. You may mark a being when you attack or by skipping your move if you sense it. When you do, the following applies. You must focus on the mark. When you make an attack against it, roll 2 and take the higher. I actually really like that as the
Yeah.
kind of flavor for Hunter's Mark. Less when I hit, I do more damage. More, I will hunt you. I am hunting you. You are my target.
Yeah.
Very effective. And even Apex Predator ignoring immune
Mm-hmm.
uh on their targets.
Yes. Oh man, the ignoring immune is like so fucking good.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, I imagine there will be creatures that are immune to piercing and that kind of thing, if immune is a thing.
Exactly.
And so you got to get
Mm-hmm.
creative. But a hunter, you could like the flavor of it is like stacking shots in the same location or
Yeah,
that kind of
exactly.
thing. Very cool. Very good.
Oh man. Cause like, oh man. Yeah, Hunter's Mark, I agree. It should be like you have higher accuracy, uh, and a chance to like really do a lot of damage. Um, but I also okay, so in this system, I forgot to mention this before. So a lot of there's no bonus action. A lot of the extra abilities that classes get to do are usually removing the ability to move on their turn. Um, so it actually allows that feel of a bonus action while also being a give and take kind of situation, while also allowing people like classes, certain classes to like not feel like they've like wasted like their movement or something like that. Like for instance, like a barbarian runs up on you, they don't need to move anymore. They should be able to remove their move to do something extra, you know? Like that kind of thing. Like they've already gotten up to their enemy, their foe, so they should be able to like do something extra
Yeah,
after
kind of
getting
like
close to them.
kind of like the equivalent of how 3.5 used to handle it with like there was the you could take a move action, but if you weren't moving, you could take a full attack action.
Yeah. So it's kind of like trying to bake that in a different way.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
actually something I do miss about the older systems because the whole like move and action on your turn can be a little bit frustrating where it's like, well, I have all this movement and I'm not going to use it because I'm staying right here. Or the kind of like flip side of, okay, I'm going to move and I can't really like do I don't know. I am personally a fan of how Pathfinder handles it with the 3 action system
Mhm.
because you can just choose which one you want. You want to move on your turn 3 times? Go ahead.
Yeah. Dash dash dash.
Dash dash dash. But if you want to just like stand there and attack 3 times, you can also just do that. But it gives that flexibility, and it's kind of handling it in a somewhat similar way. I actually think this has a lot more similarities with like the Warhammer systems that
Mhm.
I've kind of brushed on a little bit. Just in how uh movement and action works.
Yeah. Yeah. Though Pathfinder does have that caveat of like you have to do more math to do the three action the three attacks kind of thing. So it's like yes, you can attack 3 times, but
Yeah, that's the give
you
and
still have to
take
do math.
aspect of the Pathfinder or
Yeah,
three actions. And I personally actually like that it's more difficult to attack the more times you try to attack.
I agree. It makes it more balanced, but like
Hmm.
yeah, it's like adding that extra math though.
It
That's like
is that
something that I'm
aspect
avoiding.
of extra math, which is why I've been really enjoying. I was in a game last night of like Dark Heresy, and I haven't really gotten a chance to fuck around with Dark Heresy before, and I really like how that game handles its because it basically on your turn you get an action. There are things that are half actions and there are things that are actions. And you can move as a half action, you can move as a full action. There's also like a full action run. Attacking is a half action. You can aim as a half action, so you can like aim then attack, or you can like guard then attack. I really have enjoyed how like simple that is. And there is an extra attack system, and you roll at one attack, and how well you do determines how many attacks you get. And I also really like that.
Hell yeah.
So it's cool to see it implemented in like similar, but in the same, but different, but still the same, but different.
But different.
I think we're on Luminary.
Yes.
All right. Faith is about what you do and about aspiring to be gentler and kinder uh, than you are. Channelers of the magic of creation, luminars are philosophers, muses, and healers of the people. Aerith Gainsborough from Final Fantasy VII. Goldmoon from
Oh,
Dragonlance.
Dragonlance. Sorry.
Nenaves, no, you're fine. Nenave Sedai from Wheel of Time, and Ophelia Clement from Octopath Traveler.
Yeah, all of this is my wheelhouse.
Hell yeah.
Luminary is a high support magic healer. It's recommended that you refrain from direct melee. Action, cast. Move, midline, backline. Starting pack Devout, Keystat Awareness, Complexity 3. Training, no weapons, but mysticism and 3 from Arcana, Detect, Influence, Leadership, or Medicine, with the abilities Theurgy, Radiant Healer, Overheal, Evercure, Revivify, Saving Grace, and Life Giver. I
Mm.
love this. I'm a big cleric player. And
Mhm.
that's because I love fucking around with religious shit in fantasy settings. I think it's really fun, and as someone with a lot of religious trauma, it's really interesting to explore. Um I have always been a little disappointed with like a lot of fantasies implementation of clerics because they are so often fighters with god magic. And I want the fucking wimpy ass priests who are just like sitting in the temple healing people and that kind of thing. Like I want the philosophers and that kind of thing. I want I like you should have the ability to do kind of like a paladin champion type. But that shouldn't
Mhm.
just be like by base how clerics are.
Yeah.
This is a really good way of doing that. Luminary is a good term for it too. Big fan.
Hell yeah. Also, your thoughts, Aqua?
So, and not necessarily as like from a religious standpoint, but even just as a like healer support sort of class, this looks very much in line with a like I don't know your typical healing class. It seems like it might be interesting playing this sort of a healer. Let's see. The reviving too, it's like normally you don't get to revive people in some games. Like that's usually up to
Mhm.
whether, the DM is like, okay, yeah, no, make your saving throw kind of a thing. Um, so I do like that they do that. It reminds me of like more video game type of healer play.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, okay, so that is another thing in the system. There aren't any death saves. If your if your character reaches 0, they are dead in this system.
Okay, I
Um,
wondered.
so so it does like play on that, but the system like isn't so difficultly hard in the sense of like again, like level 1 is what we're starting at. Playing a lot
Mhm,
of games in the past and like and as well as D&D and stuff like that, I
mhm.
don't feel like I need to bump you guys up to level 3 to play this system. This system seems
Yeah.
very balanced in what they give you
Mhm.
at level 1. So it's just like a lot of that might seem dangerous like when people are first entering this game and this system, but I feel confident in how balanced it is of like when you start level 1, you will be able to survive so long as you are playing your class to how your class is. So
Yeah.
basically, you shouldn't be having your luminary trying to melee a bunch of goblins in the
Yeah.
face, like willingly. you know.
Mhm, mhm.
So yeah, like I do like the aspect of like, yeah, your healer is squishy, but it's also, yeah, you can get revived as well. It's still there as an option within the world setting.
Yeah,
Uh,
because I know in like some settings, or at least in some games, even typically when you're downed, it's like because sometimes it might be considered as just being knocked out, and then or like yeah, having the death rolls, and then you're finally like actually dead, kind of thing. So that's kind of
mhm.
interesting that they're just like, nope, it's all or nothing. You're down, you're
Yeah,
out.
and yep, you're down, you're out. It's like it's trying to avoid that yo-yoing of like, no,
Hmm.
you should be healing your party members or be drinking potions
Yeah,
within the battle. Uh, so it does give you that sense of like tension, but
yeah,
I feel like it's a necessary thing to try to grow out of from like what 5e has taught people is like, oh, it's like I as long as I have 1 HP, I'm fine. And like, no, 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 no.
exactly.
So not in the system. Don't do that.
Yeah, it's like realistically speaking, if you really were like just at one age point, like no, you would be like trying to heal yourself. It's like it affects the play style a little bit differently, and like how you strategize with each of your turns.
I mean,
So
you wouldn't catch someone dead in 3-5 with 1 HP saying I'm fine. Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
no one
exactly.
in their
yeah,
right mind would be like, I'm 1 HP, I'm all good. I was in call with Evie the other day, and Evie was straight up like, yo, I went down, but I was fine. And I was like, Evie, do you understand what going down in 3-5 means? It means you have less than 10 HP from death. And he was like, no, it's fine. I rolled the save, so I was no longer. I like rolled my save a couple times, so I was no longer bleeding out, and I was just fine, unconscious. And I like paused. I like looked at the screen towards like where Zan's name was, and I was like, "You do know Zan's taking it extremely easy on you, giving you that save, right? You know you're supposed to just bleed out, like, and just potentially be dead." And he was like, "No." I was like, "Yep, yep, yep." And
Yeah.
like I like that kind of danger personally. I think that can
yeah,
be really really interesting. Morkbork has a really fucking deadly system. So does Warhammer Fantasy. And
hmm
those systems will just kill you and you will not revive. Like those
Yeah.
you're just dead. I
hmm
I
like that middle
may,
ground. I like that middle ground.
yeah,
yeah,
like I may add that bleed out mechanic just to like ease up just a little bit, but it is a strict timer.
yeah,
I think
um,
bleeding out mechanics are really interesting. Morkborg, I really like how Morkborg does bleeding out because like when you get down, you roll on a like dice and the dice determines like how fucked up you are. If you roll low, you're like on death's door and will bleed out here in a couple seconds. If you roll
yeah,
high enough, you're like severely injured and you like can't move or like you can't move or something like that. And I really like a consequence system for going down because it actually makes people not want to go down or like actual actively try to avoid it. But I also don't want the consequence system to be like you die outright. There you
Yeah.
go. So yeah,
And just because
it's
I'm
a hard
a
balance to run.
yeah, it's a hard
Mm-hmm.
balance. That's why because I'm learning the system a little bit alongside you guys. Like I've read this book, I've read a lot of it. It doesn't mean that I have the
There's
experience.
nothing
There's
like,
nothing that
yeah.
can prepare me to the consequences and actions if I start messing with things. So I think adding the bleed out mechanic will be like the first step of like messing around with this.
Reading a
Just
book
to
and
like
running
if
a
someone
game are so different.
so different.
You were saying though.
Oh yeah, like just I'm gonna probably play around with adding the bleed out mechanic to this if just in case someone does go down. But I will think about it a little bit more. But yeah, moving on.
It's a good test for you to
Yes.
also potentially think about for your system.
Oh yeah, for
Um
sure.
yeah, no, absolutely. Magus, Aqua, take it away.
Yes. So, Pokémon dos.
Oh my god. ¿Por qué no los dos?
Spellblades, geishas, arcane knights, and
Gish.
eldritch tricksters. Geishas, all magi are arcane specialists that blend magic and martial prowess. Iconic magi are Alucard from Castlevania, Elric of Melibone, a Stormbringer.
What
Um,
fucking banger references really quick. Just holy shit.
yeah,
Alucard,
yeah,
Vampire Twink of my dreams. Eric of
right.
Melambone,
Yeah, Geralt.
Stormbringer like king.
Yeah,
Geralt of Rivia, like give me that silver fox. A Twilight
yeah,
Suzuka.
Outlaw Star. Outlaw
What?
freaking Star.
I love Outlaw Star.
Like that is such a niche thing you do not hear people talking
Oh,
about
I fucking
often.
love Outlaw
And
Star.
But
it's
yeah,
so
it is a good
fitting.
series.
Twilight Suzuka is absolutely a Magus.
Mm-hmm. Just
So hype.
nerding out over the reference.
So fucking hype.
Blade work to the point that you border on magic. Also, Assassin from Fate's Stay Night. That's another good example.
Yes. I
Hell
still need
yeah.
to go through more of the Fate Stay stuff.
No, you
But
don't.
it's always one or the other from people that I know. Either people just
Hey,
freaking love it
I've
and worship
I've
it, or
done so
people are like,
much
eh.
Fate shit. Yeah, I've done so
Yeah,
much Fate
yeah, yeah,
shit.
yeah,
Don't do it. It's not worth
yeah, yeah,
it. It's bad.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's let's see here. Playing Magus. The Magus may be a bit more challenging for newer players. Their playstyle is a more build dependent than the other classes, with ranged and melee magi being possible to create. Their action is attack or cast. Their move is flexible. Their starting pack is Knight, Gladiator, or Warrior. Their key stat is Reason. And their complexity is a whopping 4 out of 5 stars.
Oof.
For training, they have melee weapons. For skills is Arcana, and 3 from either Brawl, Detect, Finesse, Influence, Mysticism, or Sneak. Class features are Spell Striker, Esoteric Eye, Spell Parry, Arcane Recall, Spell Surge, Aegis Obscura, and Melchior.
I believe
See,
that's how that's
Yeah,
pronounced.
yeah,
Melchior.
let's see. And then, oh, interesting. So with Spell Striker, you gain the Gish perk, and you can cast spells using Arcana. You learn 2 spells. One must always be Ward, and then you learn one other spell every 3 spells or 3 levels after.
Oh, is this the first spell class that we've actually encountered? Wait,
Yeah.
no,
No,
it's
Luminary.
this
Was
No,
a
no,
spell
Luminary.
class.
But
Yeah,
they're they're
Luminary was
they're
a spell
more like
class.
healing. But yeah, this is
right.
more like offense.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, like a lot of the spellcasters come with a caveat saying, "Hey, you have to at least pick this one spell type, but then you can pick however many you want afterwards." Usually
Ah,
it
okay.
helps with theming for the class itself. And then you also have how many mana points you get for the system. And you can already see both in the Luminary, the Luminary
40
has,
max at 10 versus 20 max at 10 with Magus.
yeah, because they are that half caster almost vibe. Um, and it may feel weird to have such a low mana or like yeah, mana points like pool, but until we get to the actual like spell system, it will make so much more sense because you're actually able to cast certain
Well, yeah, because
spell
it's 0th level
deliveries.
spells, right? So like the spells you can just cast generally, but then you can also use your mana to like empower them, right? It's a spell point
Yes.
system.
Yes, because it's a spell point system, you use your mana to enhance it or change the delivery. So you can have certain spell deliveries that are just zero cost with your spells.
And I imagine each
Uh,
spell kind of like is different, and we'll describe in the spell what spending mana on it does.
yes, there's two different ways to spend mana in this system. There is damage, and then there is effect. But you can spend one additional mana to do both damage and effect in the same cast.
Got it.
So you get to choose, like, okay, I want to do fire as my spell. I'm choosing a zero cast delivery, which is touch, and I want to do a touch fire spell that does damage or does a or I can choose to spend one additional mana to make it do damage and the effect, which is cause burn,
So
which is damage
theoretically,
over
you
time.
could do, okay, I'm casting fire. I'm going to do it. I'm going to spend 1 mana on it to empower it. And then I'm going to spend
Hmm.
another mana to have it do both effects,
Yes. And I'll be spending 2 mana to do that.
which would wipe you out at level 1. But like later on, you can do that more consistently.
Yes, exactly. Uh, and like the damage system is pretty like easy peasy. It's just like 1 mana for towards damage equals just one extra d6. All spells are 1d6 damage. Uh, but like if you just stack a bunch of mana into something, you can do like 10d6 in one blowout if you really wanted to. So
Wizards, you can still fireball.
exactly, it's just like holy shit.
I'm going to spend 20 mana on this fire spell.
Bokum.
Explosion! You straight, yeah. I would not be
So
surprised if I
flexible.
saw one of those. Merchant. No, there's a merchant class. The
Oh,
capitalist pigs rise.
take it.
It's funny because Connor picked this as his class to try to
Of
play
course it
Not
is.
surprising. Not
Not
surprising.
surprising, capitalist pig. That's his favorite person in the bazaar.
That's so funny.
Oh, so funny.
All right. I think this is me. Um
Yes.
Lamp oil, rope, bombs? You want it? It's yours, my friend, as long as you have enough rubies. Morshu, Link, the Faces of Evil. May they be an appraiser of rare magic items, peddler of illicit substances, or bookkeeper for the court. Merchants are masters of exchange. Anna from the Fire Emblem series, Marco Polo, the Venetian merchant, Torneco Toloon from Dragon Quest IV, and Tressa Colzione from Octopath Traveler. Do you think this guy likes Octopath Traveler? Uh,
Hard to say.
Playing a merchant, the merchant is a low defense and damage, high support through a wider inventory pool, and optimizing your party's resources. In combat, you should look out for allies in need of assistance and strategize what items to use. Action: use. Move: flexible. Skip to use. Starting pack: blacksmith, cook, or tinkerer. Key stat: reason or presence. No weapon training, which I honestly think is a mild miss. They should have ranged weapon training. Craft and influence plus 3 others. Their abilities are gold sink, deep pockets, bang for your buck. Diamond hands, treasure seeker, and top shelf. It's definitely an interesting one. I'm glad it's in here for the sense of like if there are people who want to play the merchant, who want to do that
Mhm.
kind of thing, who want to be fucking what's his name from Spice and Wolf. Sure. Like,
Yeah.
it is not for me, but it is a trope and it exists for a reason.
Yeah, pulp fantasy, like filling in the trope.
Yep. And that's the thing. Not everything's going to be for everyone. Not for me. That's fine.
Yeah.
One of my closest
I've
friends,
heard
Connor,
complaints.
he will fucking play it.
Oh yeah, Connor will play it. It seems that he really wants to play it. But like I've heard complaints about the warrior in the system of like it's too bland. It's just like you get so many things. You have
Well,
options
I mean, it's the
in the
same
current
issue
system.
that like Fighter has in this has the same issue that Fighter and Pathfinder has, in that it doesn't have subclasses or like a lot of built-in, like, obvious variability.
Right,
Um,
obvious
obvious
variability, but it does
variability,
have it.
but it does have it because the Fighter and Pathfinder, you get like double the feats that everyone else gets, and because of how influential feats are to your build in Pathfinder, like, no two fighters are going to end up similar unless they take the exact same feats, that kind of thing. And it's a similar thing where the perks in this are very important for determining how your character plays, and because you get a perk every other level, like, that is a lot of variety. I do think the fighter is a little dry, personally. I am not a fan of the champion fighter ability of just increase your crit range, because for I have seen people take that ability and never get to use it. And it's
Oof.
really they'll roll a 20 and they'll roll below that and they won't roll those numbers, and for an entire campaign they just never get to use that feature. And anything that is specific role dependent, I am not a fan of. So that's my personal miss with the fighter in this, but I do not think it's like boring necessarily.
Right. Exactly. It can get very wild.
This game does seem to rely on crit mechanics, and I don't love crits being a part of a class mechanic, because I know people who just roll shitty and
Oh yeah,
like
no. It there's only
shrug.
crits in very specific classes that it
Mhm.
relies on.
I'll
Otherwise
take
it's
those
just like
classes. I roll
yeah.
nuts playing these games.
Yeah. So it's just like, yeah.
Me rolling a
Um
2.
but other than that, it's just like a roll over mechanic for the rest of them. It's just like, yeah, just roll over the number that's on your character sheet and you got it. It relies more on your own character's uh like prowess
Mm-hmm.
than what the monster has capabilities, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Which
Um,
I personally enjoy a lot more, where it's just like, yeah, you know that you are good at this thing, so you should be able to do
oh damn, you get the good one, Aqua.
it.
Oh.
Unless you two want to switch
Pugilist.
places and just do
Nah,
it
Oh
it's
that
yeah,
fine.
way.
It's fine. It's fine.
this is one of my favorites. I love monk characters. But
Mm-hmm.
I didn't hear no bell.
I
Rock
didn't
Balboa.
hear no bell.
Brawlers of determination and swagger. An ascetic may dedicate ascetic?
Mm-hmm.
Did I say that right?
Ascetic.
Okay. Okay. May dedicate themselves to a single focused blow, but a pugilist will break their fingers and keep punching with the bloody stump. Iconic pugilists: Carl from Dungeon Crawler Carl series, Rocky Balboa from Rocky, Hellboy from Hellboy, Stiffner Medic from Redwall, Tifa Lockhart from Final Fantasy. I don't know
Hell
that
yeah.
she would necessarily like go till she was bloody, but
I don't know. I
Tifa's
personally think
Tifa.
she would. Tifa. I don't, have you seen the movie Advent Children?
I have.
She got bodied in that one fight.
She did. Well, but it wasn't from her like going at it. It was more just like taking a pounding because she is definitely a brawler. But anyway, sorry. I digress. Playing a pugilist. Pugilists are frontline bruisers. Stay in the front line even while at low HP. Their action is attack, brawl. Their frontline movement. Their starting pack is brawler or monk. Key stat is might. Their complexity is 2 out of 5. Their training, they do not have weapons because I imagine they're probably just unarmed. But their skills are brawl and 3 from either detect, finesse, influence, medicine, or sneak. Their class features are fisticuffs, rope a dope, Beat Rush, Prowess, Haymaker, Impact, and Hard Knocks. That sounds fun, not gonna lie.
Very, very fun.
Yee. Although I wonder what the difference for them for like Brawler and Monk. I imagine I'd
Oh,
be
is there
curious to
still a monk
see.
class?
It looks like for
Um,
their starting pack is what it
well, starting
says.
The
pack,
starting
yes,
pack is
yes.
Yeah.
different because starting pack is like background.
Okay. Oh, I see. So their Monk is probably going to be more like spiritual or philosophical.
Like
Brawler's
probably
just more
has some
street
incense
brawler.
burners or something like that.
Yeah, it doesn't
Well,
look like
like the
there's a monk class.
nope.
Yeah.
This the pugilist is basically the monk class, or at least play style of like fisticuffs.
Yeah, which
Mhm.
Tifa definitely to me feels like a pugilist if we're going that way, if there's no like monk or brawler like differentiation.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I honestly I'm thinking of that scene again, and if I remember correctly, she's protecting someone in that fight and keeps going after the person in order to protect the other person.
Oh yeah, no, she
Mm.
definitely will go at it, like for sure.
Mm-hmm. I love Tifa. Tifa's a badass. I do really love a good pugilist class. Um yeah,
Or like
I
Sabin from Final Fantasy VI. I'm just
mm-hmm.
like, yeah, bum
There's
rush.
nothing to me like whenever like you're in the middle of a fighting a horrible monster in like a life or death fight, and you have your wizard fucking pulling out the like arcane runes of oblivion to fight it. You have your like fighter rushing up with like the great rune blade of Kazel Duel or something,
Yeah.
and then you have Johnny with some like bandaged fists just fucking gut punching a werewolf. And there's just
Yeah.
something about that that is so good to me.
I agree. I heavily agree. Oh, in this class, okay, so I believe that this in the system, just to bring attention to it about some of the mechanics that you can do, is that your brawl actually applies, even your like when you attack, it applies to your grapple and shove attacks. So like you only have to do one action to have a grapple or shove attack apply to your uh, to the attack, while also still doing some damage.
Seems pretty cool.
Yeah.
Rope a dope. You get the check hook perk and make 2 attacks with it rather than one if both attacks use brawl weapons. Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
I like Prowess. Pass a save to block. You ignore 2 of the highest roll damage dice rather than just 1.
Oh, it has active defense in this game. I love active defense. There
Yeah,
there
active
is
defense.
definitely some major Warhammer Fantasy inspirations in like in the mechanics of this game.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like it all that AC or armor does is reduce the amount of damage given to you.
Oh yeah, that
Um
is exactly. I was just doing Dark Heresy last night, and like my character, I failed a dodge. The thing hit me with pen 3. So I had 7 armor. It hit me for 8 damage, pen 3. So yeah, I had 4 armor left up and a toughness of 4 and I just reduced the 8 damage. And I was like, hell yeah. Like I
nice.
love an active defense system. They're very satisfying.
And that's what I'm gonna have in my system. Yay. Cause
Moving on to Revelator. Oh, unless there's more you want to say.
oh no no no. It's just like cause I agree with you. That's all I was gonna say.
Uh
Oh,
oh, I
interesting.
have an ad break. Real quick. I cannot stop it. So I'm gonna run a couple ads and go to the bathroom real quick. We're gonna take a quick break here at the 2 hour mark. And then we're gonna finish up the
Yeah.
classes and then get rolling.
Yeah,
Good time
I
for
get
All right.
hydration.
rolling.
Be right
I be
back.
BRB.
My comment. Welcome, welcome. We return. We are getting back into the swing of things. And we're going to be wrapping up these classes here and then figuring out what we're going to be doing. Thank you for sticking around. It is a Revelator, I believe.
Yes, it is your turn.
For he who comes in our time of need is not of mortal breed. He is the destroyer, the right hand of our creator, and the one who brings fear where there is no hope. Korax Tablet 313, Doom Eternal. O sworn knights that hold an honorable vow that becomes its own sacred power, Revelators are warriors of radiance and justice. Luke Skywalker from Star Wars, Michael Carpenter from the Dresden Files, Wonder Woman from the DC Comics. Here's some interesting examples.
Michael Carpenter was my favorite.
Michael Carpenter is a good example. Revelators are high defense frontline strikers, stay in the front line for melee attacks, and smite the transgressors. Attack, cast, move frontline, knight or warrior starting pack. Keystat are might and preserve, so 2. Complexity is 3. Melee weapon training. Leadership, and 3 from Brawl, Detect, Influence, or Mysticism. Their abilities, while as a half-caster, are Righteous, which is their spell ability, Selfless, which is a protection ability, Lay on Hands, a healing ability, Paragon Aura, a utility ability, Divine Resolve, which seems to be a self-defense ability, and Holy Diviner, another protection ability, and Sacrosanct, which is another self-guard. So these seem like the save tanks, the ability tanks.
Yeah.
For the system. I mean, we all know what a paladin is. This is a paladin.
Yeah. This is a paladin, 100%.
I think paladins are really cool. I've played some paladins. I am personally the kind of person who I think paladins are the kind of thing that I like. I probably would not play a paladin in this system because of how cross-classing doesn't exist. I usually like becoming a paladin in a game. Over the course of a game, taking a level in paladin at some point. I think that is usually the most interesting way to do it. But Revelator seems like a really good classic way to play that sort of what I usually think of when people think, or what most people think of when they say cleric. You can do the traditional cleric here.
Yeah. Very much so. And I think that is the right way to go if you're doing a new system that's trying to help balance the classes again, because I feel like in a lot of systems, especially 5e, paladins end up feeling overpowered. It's either you go and because they're overpowered, you usually go half casting into it, you multi-class. Because they're so powerful, it's better to just get perks from another class and then dip into it. And it's just Warlock has the same issue, where at times it's Warlock feels like you can only multi-class into this class to feel better with it, while Paladin has that opposite issue of you pick this and either really get into it, or you pick this as another class and are dipping because it's so powerful. If that makes sense.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. Any other thoughts?
Not really.
I just like paladins in general, so I'm just I'm happy. Let's see. The Divine Resolve is kind of neat, though. I'm trying to remember if paladins in 5e or whatever had something like that. forget like the resistances aside from like, you know, like protection from like good, like evil and whatnot. But
I think that's supposed to mimic that, where like the protection from good and evil, since it doesn't have that as a spell itself in this game,
Mm-hmm.
like not directly.
yeah, it's just protecting against statuses instead.
Mm-hmm. I know that paladins do get an aura feature that prevents certain things from happening at higher levels. So I think that's also supposed to reflect that without it being an aura itself. It's just
Yeah.
solely on them.
That's kind of neat though.
Oh, they do get that aura at 4th level.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Paragon's aura.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is still an aura here.
You just have to focus on it. Focus is basically this game's explanation for concentration.
Yeah. Gotta do some aura farming. Anyway.
Aura farming, no!
It says that there's another ad break happening.
Yeah, I just had to adjust something, unfortunately. I was still getting pre-roll ads, for some reason, and I just actually managed to make it function. I apologize, everyone, because we're still figuring out the ad situation. I just got fucking approved.
Oh, Gucci. Are we in an ad situation? Or
Yeah, we are in an ad situation right now. Ad in progress. Ugh.
Okay. Boo.
Yeah. Trying to figure out how this works. And I'm trying to get the ad situation working. To a point where because I want to disable pre-roll ads. I hate pre-roll ads. Everyone hates pre-roll ads. Okay. There we go. That's how I want it. That should work now.
Hell.
Alrighty. Yeah, we should be off of that now. I appreciate the patience. There's gonna be another one in like 20 minutes, unfortunately. But that's I do have it fixed now, so this shouldn't happen anymore. I can just play a 3-minute ad at the beginning and then be done with it.
Hell yeah.
In the future though, can't do that now. I should have watched the tutorial before we started stream. But no, I really like the Revelator. I think the Revelator is really cool. In the sense that, like, you know, if you want to play the Holy Warrior, there it fucking is. And there are so many examples of that in media that it is exactly the kind of thing that belongs in here.
Agreed.
Alrighty.
The rogue.
Hit the rogue. Aqua, this is you. Also, I really like that art.
Yeah.
Hell
That's
yeah.
Very
great
dynamic
perspective,
pose.
yeah.
Let's see here. Okay, rogue. I may be a burglar, but I'm an honest one. I hope, more or less. J.R.R. Tolkien, The Hobbit. Back alley urchins, gutterborn scum, shadowborn assassins. To hammers, every problem looks like a nail. Rogues are blades, and every problem is a throat. Iconic rogues are Loch Lamora from Gentleman Bastard Sequence. I've not heard of that, but that sounds awesome. Nona Grey, The Book of the Ancestor, and Vin from Mistborn. Okay,
That's
I'm not
an interesting set. Honestly, surprised he didn't go for First Law trilogy again, because there are like 8 different examples of rogues in the First Law.
Let's see here. Playing rogue, rogues are low defense, midline harassers that focus on one single deadly shot. They are given features that reinforce attempting to gain favor on their attacks. Action attack, move is midline. Starter pack is Assassin, Conman, Investigator, or Scout. Key stats are Dexterity or Awareness and Luck. Complexity is 2 out of 5. Training, the weapons are ranged. Their skills are Finesse and Sneak, and 3 others. So there are some flexibility. It's kind of neat. Class features: Sneak Attack, Infiltrator, Unflinching Luck, it's a D12. Evasive, Lethal Weapon, Unflinching Luck again at D10, and Waylay. Oh, interesting. Okay, so that Waylay ability, I was like, what did they mean by that? Once per round, if you kill an enemy during a turn, you can immediately take an action. That's awesome. Let's see here.
Very speedy little dude.
You gain the resourcefulness. I really like how sneak attack functions, and once again, it's very much in the Warhammer Fantasy sort of energy, with the sneak attack being basically determining how much your piercing you get on it, how much penetration is on the attack, and I think that's a cool way to do that. Surprised not to see the D6s returning, since most everything's a D6 in the system damage-wise. Surprised that the sneak attacks a series of D4s up to 16 rather than a series of D6s up to 18.
Interesting. And you could
think
spend. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I think that's because of the low health system that they have. Spells are supposed to feel like more oomph. That's why it has the D6s only, and then so they had to change it to a D4 for these guys.
No, yeah, I think it can make sense. I think the math of 44 versus 3d6 is very interesting, just from a mathematical perspective, because 4d4 has a higher base and a higher average than 3d6. But 3d6 actually has a higher maximum but a lower minimum. So the math on that is this person is wanting a more consistent set of numbers. From a design perspective, this person wants a more consistent set of numbers than they do a more varied set of numbers. Mathematically, that's what it looks like. So they don't mind it being a little bit higher damage wise, because the average of 44 is because it's 2.5 per is 10 versus the average of 3d6 is 9.5.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's just interesting.
Yeah.
Not bad in any way. I just think it's interesting to kind of note the kind of intentional design changes in something like this. Moving to Sorcerer.
Well, wait, no. I wanted to hear what Aqua's question
Oh,
was.
yeah, Aqua. I assumed Aqua had finished, but my bad, Aqua.
No worries.
I should not assume. It makes an ass.
It's okay. In Unflinching Luck, so it's saying that you can spend luck. So luck is a resource instead of a stat?
Yes, it is both a stat and a resource. So your luck stat is how many of that resource you have.
Interesting. Okay, so that Unflinching Luck is kind of saying if the result that you roll is lower than your remaining luck, the luck is not spent. So you can keep that in your pocket.
Yeah.
Oh,
I like that rogues are the ones who get the lucky feat almost.
Yeah.
Which makes sense. They should be squirrely little fuckers.
Yeah, exactly.
That just
wily
hard
little
to
guys.
down.
Yeah. That was it. May continue.
No, yeah, I think part of the reason why I moved on is a lot of people know what rogues are, and so rogue wasn't one of the ones that I felt needed too much delving into. But my apologies for cutting you off, Aqua.
All good, no worries.
Sorcerer. She said sorcery is a sword without a hilt. There is no safe way to grasp it. Arcanist's given. I also just really quickly, the art is just the fucking labyrinth.
I was about to say it reminds me of the a little bit of the father from Ponyo. Ponyo's father.
Yeah, it's directly in between the two of them. Arcanists given a precious gift of magical prowess, sorcerers can tap into their own inner reserves to provide more mana for casting. Aang, Avatar: The Last Airbender. Elsa, Frozen. Ganondorf, Legend of Zelda. Storm, X-Men. A sorcerer is a squishy blaster focused on casting spells for instant burst damage. You should stay in safety to cast. Action: cast, move, backline, starting pack, mage, or occultist. Key stat is presence, 3-star complexity, no weapon training. Skill influence 3 from Arcana, Brawl, Mysticism, or Performance. You can get a Brawl sorcerer going.
Yeah.
Their abilities are Glamour, which is their spell, Tap, which is their ability to reduce. Oh, interesting. You reduce your max HP to regain mana. This reduction ends when you rest. This is very similar to how Pathfinder handles kineticists, actually. And I've always thought that there's a lot of crossover with how kineticists, like, flavor-wise function and how sorcerers function. So kind of just shoving the two of them into the class makes a lot of sense to me, especially when you're using Aang as one of the iconic sorcerers. Because to me, Aang is a kineticist. Like, Aang is without a doubt a kineticist in Pathfinder. But if the two of them are, like, the same thing, basically, yeah, no, it fits.
Hell yeah. Let's see, you had Spell Slinger?
Yeah. Spellslinger is crit on cast checks of 19 to 20. Another crit mechanic. Spells use a D8 damage dice rather than a D6. You get that at level 2.
Yeah.
I can see why there's no cross-classing.
Yeah.
You can... I can see why there's no cross-classing. You can skip your move to cast a spell. No mana can be spent on this casting. Okay, so you can cast 2 spells, but you can't. The second one you can't use mana. Kind of like how 3-5 or how 5e handles the bonus action casting. Arcane Anomaly, like a magic ward. Spell twinning is you cast the same spell twice on a turn. The second cast check is favored. And lastly, Overpowered. You crit on cast checks of a roll of 18 to 20. Oh god, more critting.
I was going to say, I was curious because it's mentioned, sorcerers are squishy, but with the brawl skill, how
Well,
does
Brawl
that
isn't... Brawl is still... Brawl is just,
How-
like, hitting something, right?
Yeah, like you can use it for punching or grappling or something like that. But also, spellcasters, like, even though it says that you're squishy, some casters do have a form of shield ability that they can take as one of
Okay.
the spells.
'Cause
So
I
you
was
can
curious.
choose to be more beefy or at least harder to hit,
Yeah.
but like that's like the risk reward of that person, because a lot of people who are sorcerers, especially if they pick this kind of sorcerer that takes like that has tap, like mana tapping, they're gonna be risk rewards motherfuckers. Like they're gonna be like,
Yeah.
luck of the draw, spin the wheel.
Yeah,
Let
because
me-
in that
let me
case, they're
press
not
that
really
HP
much
button.
of a backliner.
Yeah, it's just like
Big red HP button.
You mean my second mana bar?
You mean... Yeah, what do you mean I have 20 HP? You mean I have 20 backup mana?
Exactly. If you read through the whole thing of tap, I find it so funny. And one of my friends are gonna play a sorcerer.
The cast resolves before your death and your body is vaporized.
Look in the mirror. You're like, yeah, I tapped that.
I tapped that.
It's straight up the fucking... I'm surprised Vegeta isn't on the iconic sorcerers just purely for the final flare. Final flash!
I think they were trying to avoid as many anime references as possible. That was their goal, to just like have some like live action more than anime, because a lot of people were gonna do anime anyway. Like
I'm surprised that Vegeta wasn't on there. Just the only anime reference, just specifically for tap.
Oh, I could totally fucking see that. And you get to see one of the other custom-made classes beside
Yep,
the
we're on
merchant.
Vanguard.
Vanguard. Very tanky looking character there.
It is the actual legitimate like knight class. This
Yeah.
is the like armor tank. This is and I love a good bulwark class.
Sorry, I'm laughing because the next quote.
Thank you, Ludacris.
Move, bitch, get out of the way.
Said, move, bitch, get out the way.
So terrifying sentinels of heavy metal armor that use shields to devastate enemies. Vanguards are mobile bastions of fortitude and might. The iconic vanguards are Groot from Guardians of the Galaxy, Havel from Dark Souls Mysteries, Juggernaut from X-Men, and Reinhardt from Overwatch. Playing Vanguard. The Vanguard is a high defense tank, trading off raw damage output for massive control and defense. This class grants you the ability to more actively tank by focusing on defending through the rush action and shoving. Their action is a shove attack, move is frontline, starting pack is sentinel, key stat is might, complexity is mid, training is melee, weapons, skills are brawl, and free from either detect, leadership, medicine, or survival. Their class features stalwart and guard, rampant charge, wall large, unstoppable, wall huge, and indestructible. Interesting. Okay, so with stalwart, you're holding the line, gaining protector perk. Let's see. Okay, yeah, no, definitely your go-to meat shield.
Yeah. But also crowd
Wait.
control in the sense of moving enemies around and bullying them basically.
You can't by base be a melee rogue?
Use rampant charge. Oh, I see. Yeah, pushing enemies. Let's see here. Very nice.
Melee weapons are strictly like kind of like bigger swords, while finesse weapons are put under specifically for classes like Rose. So finesse is the correct terminology.
Well, there is no finesse term under rogue. It just says weapons, range, skills, finesse, and sneak.
Yeah, they gain bonuses and finesse. It's kind of similar to how I'm doing it in my system, where finesse applies to your attack modifier as well. It's not
like classic,
it's not strictly
classic finesse.
Yeah.
It's more in the sense that the weapon training that they get is ranged, which is not like a dagger or a rapier or a short sword or something. So like even if you get the finesse, so like that's kind of what I'm asking is like, so the finesse is a skill, not a weapon training.
It is also weapon training. It's both.
Okay. Then why is it not in weapon trainings?
Let's see. Where are you? Weapon trainings are ranged and melee. So there's only 2 for weapon trainings, and it's just to like condense some of the weapon stuff. It's basically if you put both in there, it's like it's gonna double dip because there's not a skill that is ranged or melee. If that makes sense. You can't like it's like showing your proficiency in ranged or melee attacks versus proficiency in, if you look at the character sheet, you see proficiency that you can click off with finesse in the skills. So it already has its proficiency available in the skills part, so you just have to click it once.
Got it.
So it's just like, I'm trying to fix that in my own system because I also found that really, really goofy. But yeah, weapons only have melee and ranged as identifiers just because of the proficiency related thing and not because you can't use them. All the classes can use any weapon.
I find that a very strange design choice. Like, I do not understand the point of putting weapon training at all in the class, if that is the case. Because that should just be a skill at that point, right?
I agree, which is why in my system I'm basically putting melee attacks into might. So might is actually covering not only a skill but the melee, and then I'm using, as we discussed before, the intuition stat, which
Mm-hmm.
has focus in it. I'm using focus as the range mechanic for ranged attacks, and then I still
Mm-hmm.
have my brawl and my finesse skills that are
Yeah, and
fulfilling.
it makes a lot of sense in that case. In the case of this, it's like, well, like for example, a short sword is a melee weapon, which
Yes.
I do not have. Let's say I'm a rogue. I do not have proficiency in this melee weapon. I'm not trained in this melee weapon because I am not, or because I am a rogue. So, as one of my choices, I would have to take finesse as one of my skill choices in order to use a short sword that, even though I'm not trained in, I can use because I have finesse.
Yes, because it's a versatile weapon if I remember correctly.
Got it. Okay. So that means like a wizard could take a finesse weapon,
Yes.
or could take the finesse skill and then like take a short sword and start stabbing people.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay. Got it. That is
It
a bit confusing to get my head around, but I got there. My
yeah, it's
apologies
like
for derailing. I was just like, wait,
no.
huh?
You're completely fine. I actually prefer these kind of questions because like it helps us get our minds around stuff, and that's also why in my system I made it specifically how I made it. Because of that particular like trip that I kept having to explain. It's just like, you know what? I should just put this under this thing. So it's like, yeah, you just need
Mm-hmm.
to put a proficiency tick next to might, and you already know that you get this much. It's like in your melee attacks or so on and so forth. So I see like how they're trying to do it, but it's just like, yeah, it's
Yeah,
just
I
a
appreciate the
little tiny
I
trip.
appreciate the clarification. Aqua, I did not mean to cut you off again. I'm bad at that. But please go ahead. I was just very confused.
No, it's okay. That was pretty much it.
Oh, so, but yeah, you get to bully people with the Vanguard.
Mm-hmm.
A lot.
The shield wall type character, which is, it is a lot of fun. I think there's a lot of space for that kind of thing.
Hmm. And
Um,
like basically the size that you can bully increases as you level up. So you can just take on actual giants and shit.
So cool.
Just fuck them up. Fuck them up. Oh, and that's another thing that I would like to add to this. Shields are considered a weapon type in the system
yeah,
because you
no,
can
I would assume so. Yeah.
yeah, because you can bash and hit them and stuff like that. All right, we're almost done. We only have 2 more classes.
All right. Which would thou like to live deliciously? Robert Eggers, The Witch. Meteors of magical secrets, one may become a witch through the whispers of a familiar or the favor of a being from beyond. Dr. Facilier from The Princess and the Frog, Morgan Le Fay from Arthurian Legend, and Yennefer from the Witcher series. Playing Witch, the Witch is a debuffer focused on casting spells to stack detriments, stick to the shadows, and pile on the statuses uh, through Hex. Cast, backline, Fortune Teller and Mage, Awareness, no weapon training, and then skills, Mysticism, and 3 from Arcana, Craft, Medicine, or Survival. Their abilities are Occultist, their casting stat, Hex, which is seemingly you can choose for the effects of a spell you cast, not the damage, to become continual. So like when you use an effect spell, you can like make it last longer, it seems,
Mm-hmm.
which is pretty cool. Ritualism, you can finish a ritual that requires a scene as an action. That's pretty cool.
So quick casters almost.
Yeah, or they can pull out like bigger spells quickly if needed. Things Betwixt, a cool little invisibility spell. Coventry. That is cool. That is probably one of the coolest abilities I've seen in this game so far. I love that. You can cast spells that near allies can. That's so cool. I love that because I've never seen actually anything like use Coven properly, and I really like that.
Hell yeah.
Oh, that is very cool.
I like that a lot.
Uh-huh. And last one, because ritualism is 2 uses, so that's their 10th level ability. The target of your hex is weak to damage you deal. Dang. Furthermore, the spells ignore status immunities of the target of your hex. So it's, I like how this is kind of the antithesis of the sorcerer in many ways.
Mm-hmm.
It's also a much better warlock.
Yeah, I feel like this is a much better warlock, and I feel like I'm going to lean a little bit.
Well, your
my
tethered is different because your tethered is also, your tethered is also a little bit channeler and evoker, which are other things, and I think you do have a really good distinction going on there.
Good.
I think, Aqua, do you have any thoughts on which?
I mean, just in general, it seems really neat. I like how they balance out kind of the versatility with their abilities and like say like their last class feature, Widdershins. It's like they're weak to the damage, but they aren't ignoring immunity. So at least it's not like too OP.
Right. Yeah.
Kind of thing. So it's like taking those little considerations.
Hell
But
yeah.
I like kind of the approach that they're taking. That Coventry one really, like you mentioned before, it seems really cool.
Yeah, that Coventry one is very cool. Big fan. All right, Aqua, you're on the last one.
All right, Wizard. In a way, we are magicians. We are alchemists, sorcerers, and wizards. We are a very strange bunch. There is great fun in being a wizard. Billy Joel. Students of the arcane arts, researchers, and developers of spells as academic pursuit. Iconic wizards are Harry Dresden, the Dresden Five, Marilyn from the Arthurian legend, Sparrowhawk from the Earthsea series, and Sifa Belnades.
Sypha Belnades. I personally would call Sypha a witch, personally.
Yeah.
But I do think Sypha could very arguably be a witch, a wizard, or a sorcerer. Genuinely, like she could arguably be any of the three.
Yeah,
honestly, she's probably closest to sorcerer just because of she is a blaster caster. You were saying,
like
Aqua.
what's. Oh, sorry.
Oh, did you have something else to say?
Oh, sorry, I said you were saying, Aqua. I cut you off again.
Oh no, just that, like, yeah, I wasn't sure because I've heard it pronounced like Sifa or Sifa, but I wasn't sure how to pronounce it. All right.
And then just one more thing on my part. It's just like, I think what they're trying to do is give the game feel of what the class is gonna do more than just like accurate description.
Yeah, absolutely. Sense. I'm just being critical because I'm that bitch.
All right,
yeah,
ready.
Playing a wizard. The wizard is a squishy blaster focused on casting spells. Stay in safety to cast your spells and discover enemy weaknesses. Their action is cast. They're a backline mover. Their starting pack is Astronomer Mage. What's name? Key stat is Reason. They're mid complexity. No weapon training, but their skills are Arcana and then for others of your choice. And they do not list them, so it looks like it's open-ended. Class features are Spellcaster, Page Master, Sculpt Spell. Interesting. Let's see here. You pay 1 less mana per spell. Huh. Okay. Sorry, I'll get to that in a sec. Manifold Mind, Extracurricular, Manifold Mind 3, and Archwizard. This spell delivery thing that they're talking about.
So, as far as I can tell, it's like again, kind of the opposite of sorcerer, in that sorcerers you get to add more mana, and this you get you're limited in your mana, but you pay less when you use it.
Yeah.
Which I definitely think is very interesting. I also think it's interesting that you can heal as a wizard.
Yeah, you can pick any
Page
spell that you
Master.
want.
Manifold Mind is pretty good. You can focus on 2 spells, actually giving something the ability to concentrate on multiple things. No, this feels very classic wizard. They're handling wizard pretty well.
Hell yeah.
Alrighty, I think we've made it through all the
See, what are they
classes.
talking about? I'm curious about
Oh, yeah.
what is the spell delivery.
Yes. Okay, so spell delivery. In this system, you can spend mana to either change the delivery of your spell, increase the damage, or make it cast the effect instead. So if we go to the PDF and go to context, let's see, where are spells? Where did the spells
90, page 90.
Page 90.
Delivery. Aura, 2. Cone, Q. Okay, so delivery, for the record, is the, like, for example, meta magics in D&D 3.5, it's how the spell is appearing. So as a sphere, as a line, very distantly, as a glyph, imbued into an object, as a cube, as a cone. The only 2 that don't cost is imbue, which is fusing into a thing. Remote, which is just the singular distant target, or touch. I am going to have to do another ad here. I'm sorry.
Oh, all good.
Ad should be playing right now. Yeah, ad is starting soon. But yeah, while the ad is going, we can kind of chat about it for a second. Because yeah, ads in progress for a minute. Anyone who has ad blocker can see. But we are yeah, no, that's kind of how that works. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so like you can choose freebie spells, or you can use any of the spells that you have available to you and change the delivery. So for
there
example,
are 3 ways to use mana then, because there's delivery, there's effect versus damage, and then there is heightening.
Yes.
Well, there we go.
So you can choose how to like really like dish out your mana if you really want to do very specific things. Like for example, if you wanted to do like water sphere or like fire sphere and stuff like that, you just need to have enough mana to deliver it as a sphere, which is 2, and then if you want to increase the damage, then you add as much mana as you want. That just increases it by 1d6 per mana point that you add onto it. And then like you can choose afterwards, and that's the free part of like effect. Like so you can affect a sphere of like flammable objects with the burn, or you can do just the damage if you wanted to do damage instead of effect. And then the same with the upcasting. You can spend even more mana to make the sphere even bigger.
Big sphere.
Big. I hope that helped explain.
No, I definitely feel like I have a better understanding of the system at this point.
And same to you, Aqua. Like, any other questions about it, or if I need to reword it?
Well, I'm sure just in general there's going to be other parts of the system that I'll still need to get familiarized with, but at least in terms of the jobs or the classes, yeah, like pretty straightforward.
Cool. I'm happy to answer any further questions about the spell systems and stuff like that if that's something that is still feeling a little like iffy.
I think
Yeah.
it's one of those things where at least I will figure it out
Like
by playing.
playing it. Yeah.
Okay. Because yeah, the spell delivery mana cost system helps prevent like level 1s from doing like a bunch of grandiose things. Like they can do it in like, for instance, a
Bursts,
wizard
yeah.
can choose to immediately do a sphere spell on like their first casting and stuff like that, like at level 1, but like they can't do it too often. They can only do 2 of those, so it's like that balancing really does feel there. But yeah, let's see. Any further questions either about the like any mechanical things that may determine what class
This
you
is
pick?
just another note regarding classes, is there's one last thing you can spend mana on, and that is focus and maintaining. It costs 1 mana to maintain a spell every round.
Ah, yes. So if you wanted to keep the fields burning with your spell, you have to focus on it.
Yep.
Okay.
So that is an important mechanic to note.
So it's like kind of concentration, but you're also spending to be able to.
Yeah. Aqua, what are you thinking?
Definitely, I am interested in Witch and
And what was the second one?
maybe Vanguard. Oh no, I hadn't said a second one yet. But Witch was definitely on my list of jobs that piqued my interest.
And Vanguard.
Aqua, you're so fucking Final Fantasy pilled, you called them jobs.
I did.
No judgment, no judgment. All love. It's just, I noticed. I heard it.
I heard it too, but I'm also a Final Fantasy person, so I understood exactly what they meant.
I mean, I also understood, but it took me a second. I was like, wait, what? Jobs.
Let's see. But I also kind of liked, what was it? I think it sounded interesting. Or Luminary.
Luminary.
Yeah.
What about you? What are you thinking?
Oh, I want to hear yours first.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. I want for you, right? I want to play a caster. But the classes that are calling to me are gunslinger and pugilist.
Cool. We still do need a like some sort of like damage dealer for sure. Gunslinger, okay.
Gunslinger or pugilist, haven't decided. I also think Vanguard sounds interesting. I love being the bulwark.
Yeah, because I'd be fine even like between Witch or Luminary, but well, I mean even others, but I think those would be my top 2 for now.
Let's see. As for me, oh gosh, I've just been interested in a lot of different things, so I haven't really settled on one or another. Even with Druid being in there, it's like Druid is neat.
It's not quite the right Druid for you.
Yeah, it's not the right Druid for me. It doesn't lean into exactly what I'm looking for.
Yeah, you and I have talked about exactly what you want as a Druid, and that's not quite it.
Yeah. But I kind of like the Magus a little bit.
Magus is so fucking cool. That Magus Magus is like also on my like. You cannot put a built-in Gish class in somewhere without it being in my top 5 already, like instantly, no question. So Magus did look really cool. But I would be lying if I said that I wasn't interested in a pugilist or a gunslinger.
But Pugilist is a frontliner, so
Mm-hmm.
like that would be a very good one. Let's see.
Yeah, it depends on what you're kind of interested in going. If you're more interested in like fighter barbarian vanguard, I would probably lean towards, or revelator, I would probably lean towards gunslinger. If you are leaning a more kind of like midline, I would probably grab pugilist.
Let's see. I think for now, I think I'm picking. Like I have Magus, I have Vanguard. Vanguard seems to be like everyone's very interest in it. It just looks fun. It looks like fun to just push things around. Um, let's see. And then hmm. I guess Druid would be my last pick, but it's like on the end. It's like it
So
has an
what are your
interesting.
what are your first couple picks?
My first three are Magus at the top, and then Vanguard, and then Druid.
Vanguard and then Druid. Okay, so it does sound like we're in that position of like if you want to do Magus, I will do Pugilist. If you want to do Vanguard, I will do Gunslinger.
Gotcha. And then what about you, Aqua? What are your trade-offs?
Aqua?
Oh no, I'm thinking. Sorry.
Okay,
'Cause
I
I'm
just wanted to
like,
double. I just wanted to double check.
yeah.
If you go, oh wait, I was gonna say if you go witch, we should probably have you go magus so that we have a healer or someone can take a healing spell. But I forgot that witch can also just take like anyone can take healing spells.
Yep.
Oh, candy. Okay, okay.
I mean, you can take the Gish perk to also just give you spellcasting on any class.
Yep. It's just that luminaries are pro at it, basically.
Yeah.
Luminaries
exactly.
are good healers.
Maybe I'll do Luminary then.
Go
Luminary?
for it.
And just
Luminary?
go classic healer.
Does that push you in a direction, right?
Yeah. I think I will pick Vanguard then.
And then I will go gunslinger.
Cause yeah, if you picked if you picked Witch, like I could definitely probably go Magus as well, where it's just like
Oh yeah, and then the coven thing
That
with the
would
mega
synergize
spells, that
well.
would have been really
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because it was hard deciding because I was like, that's what I was thinking when I was looking at Witch, but then at the same time, it's like, well, but then again, first time doing this, maybe I should. Like, I was worried whether Witch would be more complex than Luminary or not.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Got it. I mean,
Valid.
Luminary has a 3 rating versus Witch having the 3 rating as well. So I don't know if it would be that much more complicated.
I think it adds complication because they are spell slingers more
Yeah.
than anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess so. Complexity in not that like for what it is. I think just more of how it was used.
Yeah, like how much you have to pay attention to.
Well, I will probably, if I'm playing Gunslinger, one of my favorite flavors for a Gunslinger are powder mages. So I will probably end
Hell
up with
yeah.
the Gish perk.
Eventually, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we have.
I think we have some
Vanguard.
ideas. Yeah, we'll pull up Gunslinger for myself. What is the next step in character creation?
Luminary and oh my god, my brain. Gunslinger. I'm just writing this down.
You're all
Those are my
good.
notes. because I feel like I need to make sure that I make a
Oh god,
campaign.
Distortion Devil rating us with a party of 43 viewers. Women! Hello,
Women.
welcome to the Women Play
Women.
TTRPGs. I
Women.
appreciate you all coming in. You might have gotten stuck with some no, pre-rolls are off for the next 8 minutes. Y'all didn't get hit with the pre-rolls coming in. I'm very thankful I did that.
Oh yeah.
Hello, welcome everyone. Today we are learning how to play Vagabond. We just went through all the classes, and now we're finishing putting those characters together. Ray is our host today. Ray, do you want to talk us through anything else? Welcome the Raiders.
Hi, welcome Raiders. We are talking about Vagabond, which is a tabletop RPG that is more on the line of gaining that kind of feel of pulp fantasy. You have a lot of like your traditional classes, along with a few little extra tidbits. The system is a rollover system, which means that your stats that you are typically contesting against are on your character sheet itself. This system also has the benefits of being a solo or co-op game. So that's really, really fun and exciting. So I even get to make a character to play alongside my friends here instead of just being a forever DM. The only things I'll be doing is probably narrating like how a story might flow or something like that, like just give some little tidbits or like rule clarifications. But when it comes to combat, I probably have very little control over what happens with each of the creatures and
You're
only doing
more
it
our
mostly
guide
randomize.
than you are our dungeon master in this case.
Yes, exactly. Uh, yay.
Yay!
It is my doing. I am the culprit.
This is
Trash talking.
absolutely Ray's doing. If you're unfamiliar with Monday Multiverse, we alternate between the three of us, showing each other cool TTRPGs and games, and walking it through with each other. We'll probably either get partway through or finish up making characters, and then we'll probably come back to this at some point, maybe with a certain Distortion Devil to do a one shot
Yes.
in this system. So keep an eye out for that. We will be kind of bouncing back and forth between them. So next week is Aqua's. Aqua, do you have any idea what we would be doing next week?
You know what? Not yet. It's been kind of a crazy week, and I'm looking at what I could show and be able to actually like have up online for you too. So I'll need to stay tuned for
Well,
that.
fair enough. And if you need to talk about it, we always have our chat. But yeah, that's our plan. Aqua's up next, and then we'll be rolling back around to Iron Sworn and the Quiet Year, which is what I'm showing everyone. And so yeah, thank y'all for being here. All right, Ray, walk us through next step, character creation.
All right. So the just to fill everyone in who has just stepped in on what classes we will be playing is a Vanguard, which is a basically big tanky shieldy boy, a Luminary, which is our healer class, pretty much a healer like white mage kind of class, and then a gunslinger. So those are the three classes we will be building and talking about. Um, when let's see, back up to the contents, we are going to go to hero creation, page 20, which is actually page 5 of the PDF.
Character creation. Boop, 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 boop.
Hero creation.
All right. Protagonists of the story. Heroes are
Okay.
the main focus of any game of Vagabond. Hero creation is a 4-step process: ancestry, class, stats, gear. All right. Well, let's start it. Let's start us off. Ancestry.
Yup.
Y'all want to
There.
roll, or do we? Are we supposed to roll?
Oh no, you can choose to randomize it, or you can choose to pick whichever one you feel like. The ancestries are pretty much like they feel exactly what their flavor is, in terms of like benefits that you'll get and stuff like that. Um, let's see. We actually didn't go over the ancestries, but it's just a quick little click away. Uh, they typically come with a perk of their own and a little description. and any ancestry that you pick, you'll be copying the ability that they get and then pasting it into the abilities box. So on page, let's see, on page, there we go, 27 of the PDF, you will start seeing the ancestry.
I think that is probably the best picture of a human I've ever seen. Just eating a dragon. Cool.
Nom nom.
Dwarf, elf, halfling. Oh, and then there are some special ones.
Yeah.
There's orc, goblin, draken. But the dice roller only has the D8.
Yes. It only has the D8 just for like common starting, but you can actually just expand it to.
Yeah, no, I mean you could just roll a D8, and humans are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Yep, you can still do it that way.
And I will be doing it that way. All right, chat, let's fucking roll for this. Whoop up.
Hell yeah, fucking roll.
4. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're fucking twinking it up, y'all. We're an elf today.
Hell yeah.
Elf gunslinger. Okay, elf gunslinger is pretty cool. Let's be real.
What about you, Aqua?
All right, we're doing D8.
I am
Yeah, go
doing that.
ahead.
You do not have to. If you have an idea for
You
a
don't have
character,
to,
feel free
but
to pick. I am.
yeah.
Okay. I'm partial to elves, but I'm also willing to randomize. Let's see. Oh, halfling.
Oh, I know what that is.
Do you want to do the expanded list or what's there already?
Um. Well, how would we roll then for the
Well,
expanded?
no, expanded is still a D8. Expanded is just
Okay.
1, 2 is human, and then you go down the list. If you want to go for just the classic ancestries, it's 1 through 5 human, 6 dwarf, 7 elf, 8 halfling. So you're either a halfling or an orc.
Oh, gotcha. Um, I guess we'll just do the halfling. That's fine.
Okie dokie. Works for me. I will. Let's see. I think I will pick. I think I will pick orc. I'll pick one of
Nice.
the new ones. So, in the ancestry line, you are a halfling.
I'm a Lala. Sorry.
Lalafell.
Lala
Lalafell.
healer. Sorry. So much Final Fantasy.
So much Final Fantasy. On page 29, you will find your halfling and their abilities.
You are
As
trained in Arcana, Mysticism, Influence, or in ranged attack. I think I'm good on ranged attacks.
yeah, you only have to click range or your proficiencies once.
All right. Where are the proficiencies? Where are the skill proficiencies?
Yep. So if
Skills.
you're
Oh,
trained with
Arcana.
range,
There we go. Ooh.
yep. So sorry.
It doesn't change the number.
Not yet. It will after we finish
Oh,
reading.
okay.
Though.
Got it. Got it. Got it. Yeah. Alrighty. I have favor on site. What does favor do?
A favor is basically you add a d6 to a roll.
Ooh, I get a spell. So I can already start with my spell casting gunslinger.
Hell yeah.
That's pretty cool. Sight-based detect check. What do your
Where would we
elven eyes see?
would we put traits under abilities as well?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
All of your traits and abilities are in the same spot. When I hopefully get the final little tidbit of the full Vagabond thing, it won't be so crowded.
Oh, good.
Okay, you can roll. Choose your stats and assign them in any order?
Yep, there's only like a certain array of
Oh,
stats that
so
have.
it's stat arrays and you pick which one you want.
Mm-hmm.
Got it. All right. So this is where, for people watching, I'm going to go to Gunslinger. I'm going to look up what's important for a gunslinger. Key stat, awareness. Weapons, ranged. I am, as a result of, I'm proficient in ranged weapons, so I click proficiency here. I'm also proficient in, it's not, okay, there we go. Oh, okay. There is a little X there, everyone. You can see it. It's just really hard to see on the PDF.
Yeah, it's hard to
Uh,
see on the PDF. I noticed that too.
Arcana,
Terribly
but I am
sorry.
also proficient with Detect. And then 3 from Brawl, Finesse, Influence, Sneaker, Survival. Uh, uh, Finesse. Brawl.
Curious to see who's going to be the more social influencer of
It's
the
not
group.
gonna be me, that's for sure.
Oh.
Teehee. It might be you.
I was going to say, because that would also dictate what skills
Mm-hmm.
would take.
Yep, what stat line I am
Mm-hmm.
gonna go here. Back up to the top. To
It's either that or just all very awkward.
all right. So just to double check, range stats function off of awareness.
Yes, correct.
Got it. And I can set them in any order. Cool.
Yes, you can set them in any order. They're not in specific orders. It's just different arrays. Basically, they did all the calculations, or at least the majority of averages of calculations for those. But I think sticking with the arrays are like so much more fun.
What does would you mind just walking through the stats really quickly for us? What does might,
Yeah.
dexterity, awareness, reason, presence, and luck do, as they are obviously different from a traditional system?
Oh, yes, correct. Oh my gosh. I'm such a silly Billy for not doing
No,
that.
no, no. This is why we're doing it.
Okay, so might. Might is responsible for your health, your inventory, your endurance save, brawl checks, and melee checks. You use your might to determine how much HP you have. Typically, it is your might times your level when it comes to your HP, your max HP. As for inventory, you have a max inventory, like basically capacity that you can have. Let's see, that is also based off of your might, which is 8 slots plus might. So whatever might stat that you have, you just add it plus 8, and that is your maximum carrying capacity. Weapons here are not based off of weight, but just off of slots.
So
So
where would I put carrying capacity?
it is in your inventory box
Okay, item. Oh,
underneath
it just
your
has it.
tool.
Item slots 8 plus might. Cool.
Yep.
Got it.
So right now, if you just change your might stat, it should calculate and change the actual stat that you have there.
It doesn't, but I will. I can just put it in.
It
Uh,
doesn't.
yeah. The max 8 plus might. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right, I have that settled in. It says right here your maximum HP are equal to your might times your level,
Yep.
and by other means in game. Okay, so very low HP.
So I have.
What arrays are we
You can
Oh,
referencing?
use any array and you can put them in any order anywhere on the thing.
yep. Correct.
So I
I guess
chose
I mean,
seven five
okay,
four three three two.
that's what I mean though. Is like, what arrays are we going with? Like,
Oh.
I don't know where they're at for
Oh.
reference.
It's on page. What page is this?
Oh, got it. Yeah, it's on page 20, which is page 5. It's under
Oh, okay.
stats. It'll have the different stat arrays, and then you can roll a d12 if you don't want to pick.
Well, not
I,
to
I
page 5.
I picked what I thought was very fitting for a gunslinger, which is gunslingers are really, really good at gunslinging. They're pretty tough, and then they're kind of crap at everything else.
It's actually
Oh, I
page
see them there.
24.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, I was a little confused because I was looking at like yeah, page 5 where the stat section was, but it's under hero creation instead. My okay.
Yep,
I
Yeah, that was
got
my
it.
bad.
I'm old.
yep.
Sorry.
You're
Um,
good. You're good. T.
let's see. Okay. Mhm.
Yeah, that was
So yeah,
my
you can pick
bad.
any one of those. I'm gonna go over the other. I'm gonna go over more of the stats.
Okay.
Melee weapons are underneath might, so your might affects your melee weapons.
Hmm.
Brawl. Uh, brawl weapons are also included in this system. So if you have like knuckle dusters, stuff like that, that would be considered a brawl weapon, not a melee weapon. Let's see. Brawl also contributes to shove attacks and grapple attacks. Shove attacks can also be performed with a shield weapon, which is under Brawl, by the way. Dexterity. Dexterity actually contributes to your speed, your character speed, as well as their reflex save, their finesse, and their sneak attack, and their sneak checks.
Alrighty.
Your speed is determined by how high your dex is. 2 to 3 is 25. Uh, 4 to 5 is 30, and then 6 to 7 is 35. Um, the you will see next to your speed, you'll see a crawl speed and a travel speed. This is actually like hex crawl is the crawl speed. So you can move that many feet on a hex map, and then the travel speed is basically how many miles your character can like safely travel before becoming exhausted. So if you're doing hex crawls and map travel and stuff like that, you can determine that much. And there's actually additional rules to like slower like walking members and stuff like that in like the back part of this book. So like if we're doing long forms of travel, I would be looking at that part to determine who like if like you have a rogue or something like that on your team or helping you along, then you won't be affected by the slowest member. But if you don't, then you're usually affected by the slowest member of like your crawl and your travel speed. Finesse. Finesse is basically responsible for your attack with a finesse weapon, pickpocketing, and lockpicking. It's your coordination and control over that kind of stuff. Uh, Underneath dexterity, you also have sneak, which is basically your stealth rolls and how you aware you are of like avoiding like casts of light and stuff like that, and how quick you are of moving away from light if it does surprise you. And then after that, we have the next ability, uh, or the next, let's see, yeah, it's ability scores. Ability score called awareness. Awareness is basically like kind of the wisdom, a weird wisdom type stat almost. That also reflects how like actual like aware you are. Your character is aware of their surroundings, like how much they're paying attention and stuff like that. Awareness affects, let's see, your ranged attacks. So awareness is very important for ranged attackers. Awareness works with survival, which is knowledge of beasts and plants. Mysticism, which is what your luminary would use, Aqua. Um, Basically, your awareness of the other, of the veil, of like the in between. And detect, which is your just like relative senses of others or your surroundings. The last stat before. Oh wait, no, that's not the last stat. There's two more. And then we get into luck. Reason. Reason is your intelligence, basically. Uh, you use it for arcana, for like wizards and other like maguses use it for their casting abilities. You use reason for crafting and medicine for healing. So if you wanted to make a character that was more focused on like doing med kits and stuff like that, then maybe putting 1 or 2 points into reason would be beneficial. And then presence. Presence is basically it's used for your will saves, uh, along with along with reason and presence. Yeah, reason and presence help with your will save. Awareness and dexterity help with your reflex save, and then you just double up might to help with your endurance save. So it does a little bit of that Pathfinder thing where you have only 3 saving throws kind of thing.
So to be clear, the way that it works is so it says endure might plus might. If my might is 5, let's say, its might plus might is 10, I subtract that from 20 and I have to get above the 10 to succeed, correct?
Let's see. So might but plus might.
And then you subtract that from 20, correct? Like for determining what you
Yes.
need to roll above. All right, cool.
Yes, correct. So like yeah, like you from what you yes, exactly. Sorry. I was rereading the rules.
I just wanted to double check. That's what I assumed, but I wanted to double check.
Yeah. I want to make double triple checks. Sure. Da, 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 da. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Cuz yeah, it's a rollover system still, even in the saving
Mm-hmm.
throws. Let's see.
No, absolutely makes perfect sense. Uh, I am just
Yep,
messing
in
with
saves.
my.
Okay, I just found it underneath luck. Okay, so yeah, on page 26, you will see saves, and that's exactly what they write. Like all of the checks are minus 20 of like whatever those two numbers are plus each
So,
other,
what do you
then
get
minus
if you're
20.
proficient in something?
What do you mean? Sorry,
So,
repeat that
for
question.
example, I have proficiency in, or I have the skill detect. My awareness is 7, meaning I have to roll above a 13 normally. But
Hmm.
is it just can I only roll on the skills that I have? Or
No,
can I roll
you
on
can roll on any
anything?
skill.
Okay. So what is the benefit of having that skill then?
Let's see. I believe you gain favor with it if it's checked.
What does favor mean?
Favor is a plus 6 to the d20 roll,
Favor
or
is
a
a
plus
plus 6 to the
d6.
d20 or oh, plus a d6 to the d20 roll. Got it.
Yes, that is my understanding. I want to double triple check though, just to make sure that I'm not just pulling this out of my ass. Uh,
That makes sense to me.
let's see. Exploration. No, 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 no. I want. That's encounters. That's status. Checks. Here we go. Aha! Okay, I found it. Checks.
Mm-hmm.
To make a check, roll a d20 and compare the result against the check's difficulty to determine if the check is a crit, pass, or fail. Uh, let's see. Pass is basically a d20 rolls equal to or above the difficulty. To determine this difficulty, subtract check stats from 20. If you are trained, which is what proficient is, if you're
Yeah.
trained with the check, double the stat. So it's times,
Double the stat. Got it, got it, got it, got
yeah.
it, got it.
So
Cool.
it's times 2 of your might if
Oh
you
my
are
god.
proficient with it.
My detect. I have to roll above a 6.
Yep. And so you're really fucking good at it. As you should be.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense.
How are you doing, Aqua? I just want to make sure that I'm not leaving you in the dust or anything like that.
Yeah, no, I'm still looking over stuff and trying to fill in my sheet.
Yeah, it's like a lot of copying and pasting, but feel free to like poke and ask questions if anything gets lost.
Will do.
Um, let's
Um,
see.
all right, so that is max HP. All right, so character creation comes in 4 ways. I have
Back.
ancestry, I have class, I have stats. It is just gear left. I think
Yep.
gear is not a non-stream thing.
Gear can be an on-stream thing, but that's up to you.
Yeah, for the sake of time, I'm gonna say gear is not
Yeah.
an on today's stream thing, at least.
But this is just a recommendation, just to say to anybody in the stream,
Yeah, of
uh,
course.
of like how to do the gear part. I highly recommend just immediately converting it to silver because a lot of the inventory in this game is based off of the silver currency more than the gold currency. So, like, immediately put in 300 silver pieces and then you can start reducing the amount by going shopping, basically. So that's my highly recommendation for that part.
Yeah, and I'm looking at it right now. It has item sizes basically, counting from 0 to 3. 0 items you can carry up to 10 of before they count as one item. Uh, and you can functionally carry like any combination of the various items that you have. There's a whole ton of items here that you can pick from.
Yeah, there's
This is just
so many items.
starting packs. And then
Oh
in
wait,
addition, there's weapons, alchemy, beasts and husbandry, books and magic, astronomy and
there's the
navigation, clothing, containers.
starting packs.
Yep, starting
Yeah.
packs.
What page?
Starting packs are going to be on page 81. Nope,
Oh, there they are. Okay, I was trying to look for the front
79.
one. I see. Okay.
Uh, Cooking and food, games and toys, gems, jewelry, hardware, liquor, music, outdoors, tools, trading goods, and personal items. So if you're going to play this game, highly recommend looking through it yourself. We are not going to go scrolling through all of the various things and pick them on stream for our characters, but we will have them by the time we come back and play these characters again.
Hell yeah.
I will also have a name for my character when we come back. I'm not naming them on stream.
I have no idea what to name mine either.
You know what? You know what we could do to name them is we can make characters and see what comes up from the character names. But other than that, no. We'll figure out names. We will figure out inventory next time, like including weapons and everything. I feel good about my character. I am ready to. I'm kind of been showing it off. What about y'all? How far along are y'all?
Oh man, I'm up in the air about some of my character choices. I think I might make a dumb boy.
Yeah,
I am also dumb.
Oh man.
I at least picked a 4 in reason. Should I have a 5 there
No,
instead?
you can
Oh
do
no.
whatever you
Four's
want.
fine.
Do whatever you want.
Like,
Four is pretty good.
yeah.
Okay.
Like basically the max stat
Is
just to help
7.
with is 7.
Yeah. Yeah, I've
So
got 7 at least in my main stat for awareness as luminary.
High five.
yeah.
Awareness bros.
Yes.
Hell
Seven
yeah.
awareness. Let's go.
I think I will make my dude a little charismatic though. Just a pinch.
Mhm.
Let's
Makes
see.
sense. Makes sense. Last
Either
thing I
just
want to figure out before moving on is speed.
speed. All right.
Speed.
What is your dexterity?
My dexterity is 4.
Your dexterity is a 4. So, underneath the dexterity stat block, it looks like you have a 30 speed.
Alrighty. Well, there we go.
Where is the stat block?
So, 2 to 3 dex is a 25.
Okay,
speed.
it'd be 25.
Uh,
Okay, it's already there.
oh, all good, all good. And
Nice.
then it's a 75 crawl speed, and then 5 for the travel speed.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
then
that's there.
for you, Thalia, it is a
Mhm.
90 crawl speed and a 6 travel speed.
Alrighty.
And then, additionally, uh, let's see, your current luck. Basically, that is just the same stat as your luck, unless you have a very specific class or skill ability, which
You
I
got
don't
it.
think any of us do.
Nope.
So your current luck is your luck stat, and you get to replenish that after a long rest.
Alright, and those are rerolls?
Yep.
Yep.
They are,
Cool.
let me double check. I believe they are
Ah,
rerolls. When you flummox, I think that's what they call it. Checks. Let's see, favor hinder. Where are you? Fails. Let's see. When you fail, roll. Oh wait, I just skipped it. Oh my gosh, I'm such a goober. It's right there, right in front of me. This whole time. It's underneath stats. It's still underneath the stat bar. I don't know why I skipped it. Luck pool. You have a luck pool of points of luck equal to your luck stat, which you can spend as, let's see, as detailed below. You regain luck spent after you rest. Um, you can spend one luck to do the following. Advantage. Gain favor. Favor specifically, not like rolling 2d20s. Instead, you roll 1d6
mm-hmm.
plus your d20. Or you can use it for a fluke, which is you re-roll an unresolved die you rolled. So like
So whether or not
basically if
you
you
know it succeeds, before you know it succeeds.
right, exactly. Misfortune and chance. When the game needs to randomly determine what hero is subjugated to an effect, the hero with the lowest current luck is typically the subject. So that's where the co-op part comes in, where it's just
Mm-hmm.
like the character with the least amount of luck, most of the time, if they're close enough to a creature, like only when they're close enough to a creature, uh, and like there's two between them, they usually go for the person with the lowest luck, and then you roll if that is also, uh, like a equal, a tie, excuse me. So like you can determine like all of that,
Got
like
it?
just by like the stats on your character sheet. And
Alrighty.
you can even run a whole group by yourself if you wanted to.
Yeah, no, it does seem like it. Ironsworn has the same sort of thing, and I would be very surprised, considering how many like mechanical similarities and how long Ironsworn's been out, if the person hadn't at least played it.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm a big fan of that, so this is right up my alley. Uh, I think I think I am good to go. I think since we are just plugging and chugging the last few things, how would y'all feel about wrapping up here?
Yeah,
Yeah, I
I
think
feel
that
good about
works.
it.
Alrighty. Well, Ray, thank you so much for showing us this cool ass game. And if
Thanks,
anyone's
Ray.
interested in seeing the Elvish Gunslinger, the Halfling Luminary, and the Ray, you were
Or
playing a Orc
uh,
Vanguard.
yeah.
If anyone would like to see our Orc Vanguard, our Halfling Luminary, and our Elvish Gunslinger again, you can tune in one Monday in the future where we may or may not be joined by some schmarmy merchant of some kind. But thank you all for showing up and hanging out while we checked out a little bit of a really cool new system. Really excited to get into it a little bit more. looking at who else is on, I think we're gonna hit our friend Skelly Alpha, who's playing some off. Uh,
Nice.
y'all want to say anything or de-introduce ourselves, as Thera likes to put it?
Go for it, Aqua.
Um, don't have too much to say other than stay hydrated. I'm Aqua, and as the name implies, I'm very much into hydration. So no, but
Drink
I was
water. You who
drink water.
hears this right now and hasn't had water in the last 10 minutes, drink water.
Make
How
sure you
dare.
stay hydrated. Take care of yourselves. No, but yeah, thank you, Kate, for showing us the system. I'm excited. I'm also looking forward to sort of seeing what I could potentially suggest as an offering. So I'll talk to you guys
Oh yeah,
about that
we
off
will be in
stream.
chat,
But
and we
yeah.
will be here next week with Aquas. Sorry, go ahead, Aqua. I will stop cutting you off at some point in the future.
It's okay. It's okay. Go ahead. That's pretty much it for me. But yeah, go ahead.
I look forward to
Uh,
seeing what you come up with, and I promise not to interrupt you when it's your hosting night next time. But thank you everyone for being here. Ray, why don't you sign yourself out?
yeah, I'm Ray, also known as Key Ink and Calligraphy Ink on various platforms. Let me see. I will be mostly hanging out with friends online or on their various streams. Uh, Vagabond, I am very excited about. It has been a system I have been excited about for a while now, and happy to share it with all of my friends and seeing how excited they're getting about it, especially since I believe many of us have been looking for something like in the same vein for for a while. It probably, like as every system, doesn't hit 100% for everything, but I'm happy to at least introduce this much. But yeah, excited for that.
All right. And I have been the channel host, Amusing Thalia. Thank you for being here today. We will be rating Skeleton Alpha. If you want to put something in chat, put Vagabond. Because that's what we were doing today. And you know, that's a pretty good thing to do. In general, when we raid, we'll just say the system that we're doing. But thank you all for being here. And go say hi to a pretty cool friend of ours. Bye bye. Bye
Yeah.
bye now. Bye bye.
Bye.
I've been here the
All
whole
right, raid
time.
is sent off.